Belts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call 402-810-0789 or visit IBEW22.org today.
I'm Taylor Bishotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Cleveland's bye week did not appear to help Deshaun Watson's ailing shoulder. The Browns quarterback did not practice Wednesday after missing the team's last game. Cleveland says P.J. Walker will start Sunday if Watson can't play. Another starting quarterback also sidelined in New York as Daniel Jones missed practice Wednesday with a neck injury. His status for Sunday remains unknown. What is known is Anthony Richardson will be out a while. The talented Colts rookie quarterback was placed on injured reserve due to a shoulder injury, and he'll miss at least the next 4 games. Another rookie star is also heading to IR. Dolphin speedster Devon Achane is out at least 4 games after hurting his knee. Achane leads the NFL with an incredible 12 yards a carry this season. And Mac Jones remains the starter in New England. For now, Bill Belichick says he won't make a QB switch this week, despite Jones being pulled early from the team's past 2 games. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
It's time for the Fall Haul at Northern Tool and Equipment. Get your hands on tough tools at prices that are tough to ignore. Got plans? Cancel them. Trucks in the shop? Borrow someone else's. Don't like saving money? Right. So head to the Fall Haul at Northern Tool. Back up the truck for the season's biggest event and save on generators, power tools, trailers, and more. Shop in-store or at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-775-5622. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction, and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-775-5622. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-775-5622. This advertisement was paid for by Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction, presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Chase Senate Contracting, Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and Rotella's Italian Bakery. Immediately after the game, join the show and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction with the Keg and 1620 The Zone.
It started in Lincoln. Now it's in Omaha. It's Muchachos. At the heart of Muchachos is family. Muchachos uses new Mexican flavors with smoked barbecue passed down from generations. This flavor sensation is called New Mexican Barbecue Fusion. Come get your eat on and nosh on slow smoked pork brisket, chicken, queso, and mac. Try the fan favorite Hatch Mac Burrito with a craft beer or margarita. Muchachos is south of the Old Market at 1285 South 13th Street, or check them out at yomuchacho.com.
The Omaha Farmers Market is celebrating 30 years of farm fresh, locally grown produce, May 6th through October 15th. Open rain or shine in the Old Market every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and in Exarban Village every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. To keep up with what's in season, visit omahafarmersmarket.org and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Presented by Methodist Health System with media sponsors KETV Channel 7 and Sweet 98.5.
Yep, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's going to be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Fear has a name. For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods. Scary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions. 172nd and Giles. Sponsored in part by Raising Cane, Stereo West, and Ivy.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. 1620 The Zone.
Swinging a ball, hit well to left, toward the line, and it's gone! Another homer for the Diamondbacks! Third solo homer of the home third! 3-0 Arizona. So it's 2-2. The at-bat resumes for Moreno with 2 down. Lynn the pitch, and a breaking ball is drilled out toward left center field. A long way! No doubt about this one! Home run left center. 4-0 Diamondbacks. Here comes. Swing and a drive. Right field. Way back. And gone. Oh, baby, did he crush it. Into the second deck. A monster homer for Bryce Harper. And with one swing, the Phillies have a 4-1 lead. He crushed it. The pitch. Swing and a high fly ball center field. Harris back some more near the wall. Gone! Just to the left of the 401 marker, a towering homer to center field, and Bryce Harper has done it again.
Ryan turns and fires, 0-1. Swinging a ball, well hit out to right field. Kepler on the move, he looks up, and that ball is out of here. A game-tying solo home run from Michael Brantley. Off the bat, it looked like Kepler might have a play on it, but it just continued to carry right over the metal fencing into the seats in right. And at the top of the second, it's the Astros won and the Twins won. 1-0. This one hit well in the air out toward right center field. Kepler's on the move. He looks up, and that is out of here. Another home run for Jose Abreu, his third of the series. A 2-run blast out to right center field. And in the fourth, the Astros lead the Twins 3-1.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Get your ass out of here.
Whoa. Man, real salty on a bye week. Just like Dodger fans are, Brave fans are, Twins fans. I don't know if you're salty. But good morning, everybody. It is a Thursday where late last night, the Los Angeles Dodgers quietly win the night. I said it was a silent night at Target Field. That's a silent franchise when it comes to October. Good morning, boys.
Good morning.
Yeah, all right, so here's the thing about the playoffs. And the atmosphere in Philadelphia is absolutely electric. Okay, they are ruthless. They're doing the tomahawk chop. They've got an incredible home field advantage. That NLDS is like deja vu. I feel like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day waking up, and it's the same thing because it's kind of following the same path.
That's all we have right now.
But the Harper home runs last night, and hey, a healthy Bryce Harper, especially in October, is a really, really good Bryce Harper. And let's be honest. Everybody gets a little upset at things, okay?
Yeah, especially this time of the year.
Sports are fun. Let's have some fun. Let's don't whine on the air about what we don't have or what somebody else has. Sports is fun. And that moment in a rivalry, I thought that was fun. Braves are radio announcers. They're whining about his celebration. Well, what happened in game 2? So Harper gets his moment, and that's what, everything is so damn petty these days, but it's a rivalry. You're having fun. I got to think, if I'm a little boy in Philadelphia, and I don't know if little boys do this anymore. Well, even little girls. Do they put posters up?
That's my first question.
I don't know.
Can you go to Spencer's in the mall and get a poster?
Find like the poster, like flip boards, and then underneath them are all the actual posters of the one that you just saw on display. I don't know. That's a good question.
So like society is changing. Like when we were growing up, we got posters, whether they be of our sports stars or our like favorite male or female that we yearned for when we were 6 years old.
Yeah, I had a Cindy Crawford little poster, not a poster, but like something cut out.
No B. Arthur.
I did not have B. Wow, I did not have B. Arthur or a helmet full of cottage cheese. Good Airheads reference right there.
Yeah. I kept it tame.
All right, about that NLDS. But like things have changed.
Yeah, I don't know if they do posters anymore.
So things have changed. Like when we were all kids, we got posters and we got baseball cards.
Yeah.
Now posters and baseball cards are adults. Okay, and I don't know if kids have posters on their wall anymore. I did. I had a lot of sports stars. I had the comforter that was all the football helmets. So I was all sports geeked out. But I got to imagine if I'm a kid in Philadelphia, if I'm a good parent in Philadelphia, and I got to believe in the city of, sometimes unbrotherly love, that there are some good parents in Philadelphia, I would have already blown up the picture of Harper rounding second base last night, staring at Arcia.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have blown it up. And when my kid wakes up today, that poster is up on the wall right next to the AI step over of Tyronn Lue. Aren't those like the two greatest pictures in the history of Philadelphia sports?
Yeah, there you could maybe throw in a
Randall in there.
I don't know. I feel like you could also throw in a Nick Foles Philly special as well, because that was obviously a very big moment in a underdog showing
Dr. J
by
Big the baby
Big Nick. So yeah, I would put that. Yeah, the AI one is definitely top 3. I don't think you could have like your Mount Rushmore of Philly sports moments without. I mean, I guess you'd have to go with the Philly special in the Super Bowl, but pick any moment in that Super Bowl.
Oh, that moment last night. He's rounding second base. Flaky Jake's going to be a rough day for you. I'm just telling you right now on Twitter. It's going to be a rough day for you because we're going to have to talk about facts, and your Braves may be about to be extinguished for the second straight year in the NLDS.
Yeah.
Don't make it about the Cubs. We're not there. I know it. We'd like to be you, okay? If you wouldn't have beaten us at the last regular season, last week of the regular season, we'd be in the postseason with you, okay? So it's going to be a rough day for you, okay? But we got the Chiefs tonight, so don't worry about it. Is the way that is unfolding, and like Bryce Harper, we're going to talk a lot about Bryce Harper because I will say this: I think the kid has matured. You guys know this. You've been around me long enough. I like athletes that put it out there and then they back it up.
Yeah.
The LeBron James, the Tiger Woods, the Bryce Harpers, guys that were on the cover of SI. What is SA?
I don't know.
What is SI? What is SA?
Sports
that
Annual.
were on the cover of those magazines when those magazines were big. And they were like the next best thing. And you have to admit, all 3 have come through. They have reached the hype. Now, some might go, Bryce, oh, come on, Bryce Harper. Well, he's embraced himself with Philadelphia. I also think he's matured. And I'm telling you, when Bryce Harper is healthy, isn't he in your top 5 of the best baseball players in the game?
Yeah.
That first home run he hit last night. Yeah.
Well, and defensively too. I mean, yeah, all around. I don't even think there's a debate about it.
I mean, he's injured, so it's probably his life in the field is probably a little bit shorter.
It is, yes.
It's odd to see him playing first base. It's also my love of Bryce Harper today. We're gonna have to put up with more Colorado gear that he was wearing yesterday. But he has ingrained himself with the Philadelphia sports fan, so the reaction today has got to be through the roof. I'd love to be on WIP in Philadelphia right now taking calls because people would be like, I love Bryce Harper. That's Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's a Philadelphia guy. I would do that as well. If I stepped up to the plate and I hit a home run off Elder, I would stare at everybody.
Yeah.
So when healthy, I think he's one of the top 5 players. Now, he has bounced in and out of being healthy. And maybe I'm off here. You guys can disagree with me, but 951-1620. But in the postseason, there is no denying what he does when he's healthy, especially in Philadelphia. Was that 8 straight games that he's homered in?
Yeah,
Or no, he's got 8 home runs in the NLDS.
Yeah.
Some wild stat that they were throwing out last night.
And that is a hot team. That is a team that if they ran the table the rest of the way and won it all, no one would bat an eye or be surprised.
Well, and the competitiveness. This is what makes certain players in every sport. You talk about NBA, talk about the NFL, guys that they have a little bit of that edge to them. They're embraced usually by their own fan base because they wear their emotions on their sleeve. You know, we saw the we saw the helmet tossing into the stands not that long ago. They're ending the regular season on a horrific check swing call. But you know, Bryce Harper, he lets you know. And when you can back these moments up, when you talk about postseason and you're able to take something as, you know, an attaboy Bryce chant in a post-game celebration. And I'm not saying, and he even said last night, like, sure, there could be, you know, some motivation there anytime someone talks about you, but
oh, daddy, when someone talks, you got to talk back.
And that's exactly my point right there, is the players that have a little bit of that cold-blooded mentality in the biggest stage are the ones that clap back on the field in big moments like that. And that's something that Bryce Harper, when he's able to accomplish the actual execution at the plate. Yeah, if you're Arcia, you know, and there was a reason Arcia didn't even want to like show his body towards Bryce Harper, because he knew he had to take his medicine once and then he had to take it again. So the Bryce Harper, that edge, that mentality is.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Noted.
What's that?
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
We're having our own little game over here. Sorry.
Okay.
Continue on the path. Focus.
I don't know what I just missed there. Anyway, all right. The bottom line is the guy is a postseason competitor. Guy brings that edge. And then when you show up on that stage, that to me is kind of what defines, you know, when you talk about the top five in Major League Baseball when he's healthy, like it's moments like that on those stage that I think define you.
There's the other part of like last night. So if you did not stay up last night, I think the Diamondback players are still in the pool at Chase Bank or whatever the hell they call that place in downtown Phoenix these days.
The Bob.
So Arizona dominated that series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we live in a world where Texas and Arizona have gone 5-0 in the playoffs. And the Dodgers, once again, a 100-win team, third straight year, 100-win team, no trip to the World Series. How you doing, Dave Roberts?
Yeah.
But their key guys didn't come through. And also they had,
oh my gosh,
they had rotation issues before they got to this series, and it was magnified against a team that is red hot. But I was thinking about in sports when we get to the postseason, and we're in a ring society, and especially in baseball. And I don't want to hear about this mumbo jumbo, more whining on the radio about, the format. Are we just upset because the favorites aren't winning?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Come on, people.
Win.
Okay, like, hey, we saw yesterday with KU. Nothing is fair. College athletics is unfair. Okay, but watching
they
baseball.
didn't get the death penalty.
So we've got Arizona is waiting either Philadelphia or Atlanta. We've got the Lone Star showdown between Houston and Texas. And Houston, it's inevitable. I mean, I tip their cap. I'm not going to bang the trash can. I'm going to go, man, that's impressive. 7 straight ALCSs. But in baseball, you know, our other sports, the best team wins. At the end of the year, they're holding the trophy. But I think we might be in just 2 sports. It's the best team at the moment is Major League Baseball and college basketball.
Yep.
College basketball, you got to win 6 games. You get in the tournament, all that matters is 3 weeks, you got to win 6 games. Baseball, look at Dodgers. I mean, Dodgers won a lot of games. They had won 16 more games in the regular season than the Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
The Diamondbacks are playing in the ALC or the NLCS, and the Dodgers are going home.
Yep.
There is the part of sports of just getting in and then performing once you get in. So it's getting in, getting to the postseason, and then winning the postseason are 2 completely different things. Like the Minnesota Twins, for example. They now know how to get in, but do they know how to win in the postseason, which anybody in the AL will be extinguishing the Houston Astros? I think those are the only 2 sports where at the end of the tournament, you can't go, man, the best team won, because it's the team that got hot at the right moment. And then there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just get in. What do we say? Hey, just get in and anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And in college basketball and Major League Baseball, I think that's the case.
And those are 2 sports where if you're playing for your life down the stretch just to get into the tournament, you're already playing at a certain level. So now the other teams have to match you, and they sometimes can't do that.
Well, and the thing I like about it, though, too, is sometimes you see the best team in the regular season also be able to withstand it. And I think that takes you to sort of another stratosphere. And I'll use 07 as an example. With the Colorado Rockies, that was a wild card team. It was fun. They sweep right away. Then they sweep Arizona. Then they get swept by Boston. But if we remember Boston that year, they were fantastic. That was a great Boston Red Sox team. And so it was a cool story with what Colorado was doing coming out of the wild card and just not missing a beat in the whole Rocktober thing. But then you had Boston basically say, yeah, but we're better. And we've been better all year. And so you do sometimes see that. And I'd even say to an extent a little bit on the NFL. If you get to the playoffs, we've seen the Giants make it through the wild card.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you two Elis.
Yep, Eli and
a 9-7 team.
And even though the Green Bay team was a wild card team, that was a good Green Bay Packer team, the only one that Aaron Rodgers has. And then you had a Steelers title as well. So you have seen a wild card team do it every now and then. But yes, football, it's typically going to be the team or teams that you're going to see in the Super Bowl that probably stood the test time throughout 16 or now 17 games in the regular season. But baseball, absolutely. I still go back to 2016 when Cleveland made it to the World Series, even though they got the home field advantage. They were playing. I always bring up Boston because Boston was kind of peaking at the right time, and everybody felt like, yeah, Cleveland, even though they got the first 2 games there in Cleveland, it's going to be rough. Cleveland sweeps Boston. And again, so they got hot at the right time. And then they go in and they beat Toronto. And, that was also, kind of a big win, even though Toronto had knocked off Texas when Texas was the number 1 seed. So, I mean, yeah, you see it, you get to that point, but a lot of it is, how's your rotation set up? You brought up the LA. How is your pitching looking? How are you trending going into the postseason as well?
See, they weren't trending real well.
Exactly.
Their starting rotation ERA, and they had some injuries. 4.57 in the NLDS, where they never led. I think they were tied for 1 inning.
No, yeah, you're right. That was
they had a 25.07 ERA for 3 games.
The only other they're the
I'm
second,
no Leo DeRocher, but that ain't going to work.
They're the second 100-win team to never hold a lead in a series, and I think you have to go back to 63. It was the last time that happened with the Yankees. So that's rare air. Their starters threw a combined 4 2/3.
Yeah,
their ERA was 25.
They had injuries in the rotation. I get that, but they also have 2 of the better players in the game in Freeman and Betts. And they had 4 guys that had over 100 RBIs this year. You know how many RBIs they had combined in this series? Uno.
One. They did.
Jimmy.
Okay.
Jimmy. Uno.
They were 1 of
not
20.
Dos.
They were 1
not
of 21.
Zero, uno.
Yeah. 1 of 21.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Jimmy here as well. Jimmy is very fired up with his Astros. Got Astro gear. Jimmy only has 2 pieces of clothing in his wardrobe, anything KU and anything Astros.
I've seen a Cowboy thing or 2.
Yeah, but he's now that they got crushed by the Niners, he's given up. He's become a Chiefs fan.
Back in America.
We do have the Chiefs here on the zone tonight. They play the Broncos.
I do like them to cover.
On prime time. Whoa, already. Look at you, Jim Feist. I'm just going to drop like 35, 40-year-old references. All right, keep track of this. Leo DeRocher, Jim Feist. But you'll hear the Broncos and the Chiefs on the zone tonight, and you will probably, if you're watching it on Amazon, you will see, yes, she is supposed to be there.
She wouldn't miss it for the
guys.
world.
I got upset late last night. You can't do that to me. Like I was watching a little late night TV, and Taylor Swift has her Eras movie premiere. So she was on the red carpet. Beyonce was there. Adam Sandler was there.
Okay.
It was like the A-listers were out.
Was Adam Sandler wearing sweatpants?
No, he's actually dressed fairly normal.
Good.
But it would have been on brand for him to be wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or tracksuit.
But I got a little upset, but then I had to remind myself that people are new to this whole thing. There was a discussion about why Travis Kelce is not with her. And I was like, okay.
He has to work.
I'm not going to hold it against you. You know nothing about football. Okay, that's fine, because I don't know nothing about your world. Okay, I'm not into the little baby is with one of the Kardashians or whatever is going on now. Okay, I'm not gonna wade into your lane, and you waded into our lane, wondering why Travis Kelce was not at the premiere in Los Angeles last night, ahead of the Chiefs playing the Broncos today. Wondering,
why?
I wonder what's going on. Well, here, let me tell you what's going on. In this thing called football, Usually the night before the game, the team is together, and they might stay in a hotel, or sometimes they get to
No.
stay at their own house. But you know what? They're not flying off to Los Angeles, then coming back to play the next day. That's just how it works with professional athletes, and especially in that sport. But I'm going to tell you, Swifties, here's one thing, okay? So your girl is going to be at the stadium tonight, and because this game could be a blowout, she's going to be shown a lot, okay? And I can only imagine how miserable Al Michaels is going to be. Bob Costas was miserable in the Dodger Diamondback series. Al Michaels is going to be miserable when they keep showing Taylor Swift tonight, and there's going to be a lot of pop culture references that will go over his head. But Swifties, it's okay, because your boy Travis, who will not miss a primetime showdown, even with a bum ankle, and I think he should sit out, he's got a couple of days off after this, and she'll be in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay. It's okay that he was not there last night, because that makes sense.
He's going to spend some time with his boo.
All right, I'll get off my soapbox. I just want to welcome everybody in from the Swiftie world.
But I don't get it. Like, he couldn't have gone there like private jet and then private jet back, and wouldn't they be okay with that?
Oh,
like,
I'd cut him. I'd cut him immediately.
I don't understand.
I'd get rid of him.
Come on. I don't get it.
But they're not dating. They're just friends.
Are they quietly hanging out?
I think they
It's
are.
not, it's not quiet anymore.
But why can't men and women just be friends?
Oh, it's not how
So my
society
ex-wife
works.
probably should have asked me, "Hey, why can't I be friend with this guy?" All right. That's it.
The top rope on himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
This is going to be a fun Thursday.
I own it. I own it. She disowned all of our debt. All right. Here is the lineup brought to you by the Rooferees of John Higgins Weather Guard. Sam Stanley, head football coach at Elkhorn North. It's a hell of a story. Coach Sam is in his 4th year, and they are knocking on the door of being a title contender. Not knocking on the door. They are a real title contender in Class B, and they got a huge matchup tomorrow night at number 1 Bennington, and that's a juggernaut in its own with the Badgers, and that'll be a great game tomorrow night. So Coach Stanley will join us coming up at 7:30. It is one of 2 1-versus-2 matchups in the town coming up tomorrow night. Omaha West Side and Millard South, Elkhorn North Bennington. Coach Sam at 7:30. Steve Sipple stops by at 8:30, and Brian Edwards at 9:45. That is the lineup. That is brought to you by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. You can always join the conversation. We will talk some Nebraska football now that we are smack dab on the other side of the bye week. We're coming out of it. Ooh, doesn't it feel good?
Yeah, they're working on Northwestern today.
Are they?
Yeah. I remember. Well, I think Matt, as long as the timetable has not been altered, he said on Tuesday that they'd be focusing on Northwestern on Thursday.
That defense is better at Northwestern. It's been the last couple of years. I'll give them credit for that. And no one thought they would win 3 games.
Once they got out of the Mike Hankwitz, it didn't look good for a while.
Their offense is a tad bit pedestrian, but they could get back a quarterback and a wide receiver that did not play against an FCS school. So we'll talk some Husker football because I was doing a little prep for Iowa, Wisconsin, and something just popped into my head. That's another Nebraska-Iowa connection. So that should make state softball umpire JD really, really happy. By the way, good to him. He's
going on Hastings right now.
He's working a final. He'll be at UNO. So everybody that does not like Iowa JD, go to UNO on Monday because he'll be working one of the championship games and just heckle the heck out of him. Yeah.
We always encourage that, especially any of even when Gary was umping with him, we encouraged people to go out and to heckle the umpires.
Yeah, you know what? They never asked me back. I thought it was pretty good that day.
I can't remember if I asked or not. Did you have any close calls?
No, not really.
Was it pretty?
There was a play at second base, but other than that, no. I had an easy day, but they never asked me back. I went and got the pants and everything. Now I'm stuck with these gray pants. Like, where am I ever going to wear those? You can join the conversation, 951-1620. That is the Zone Hotline. It is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source, it is by your mom's house. And that'd be even funnier if, like, it was
there
by
was
your
one
mom's
literally
house.
like right.
Yes.
No, actually, it's funny you say that. There's one right in the corner next to where my mom lives.
Your mom a vapor?
She's not a vapor. No.
Your dad?
Old school.
Dad or mom never smoked.
Little CBD?
No vapes.
Hey, just get the ointment. You don't need to do it through the mouth. Just do it on the skin.
Oh yeah, there's other ways to take it in. Not that they've ever told me, but they don't tell me everything that, as far as quality of life, pain management.
Would it surprise you if your parents were drug users?
It would
run a fentanyl ring out.
Yeah,
of the garage?
that part would probably surprise me. But if they were, if they were doing a little CBD or something,
just curious.
Overly shocked.
You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox. Doug must be on vacation. He's got to be.
He's on bye week.
So he just stopped interacting?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We'll see him next Friday.
Yeah, that'd be a nice life. It's bye week, so I'm just going to lay in bed all day. The Equitable Bank inbox, where they take banking personally to two fine, convenient locations here in Omaha. You go to a game, by the way, at Elkhorn, they are prominent. They got a really cool ad on the video board. That's a good-looking video board out of Elkhorn. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley at 1620thezone.com.
On the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620.
And Nick Handley 1620.
All right, when we come back, I got to warn some people here. I know it's early. It's dark outside. It's really dark. The weather is going to be for the next couple of days. There's quite a few high school games in the area that have moved up to like 4 o'clock because of weather in the area. We have Ralston Hastings on the C-Dub. That got moved up an hour. So I don't know if I should do this to y'all, but I want to prepare you in about, how long is this break, upcoming break?
4 minutes.
Okay. In 4 minutes, we're going to play a piece of audio that may affect you one way or another. I got to warn you that when you hear this piece of audio in 4 minutes, you may have a reaction to it. But I want to prepare you, like if you're driving, pull over now. If you're getting ready to board the streetcar, go not just to hang out in the little streetcar area so that you can listen to this because you may need it this morning if you're having a bad day.
Okay, it's that time.
I'm going to be like Jake. I'm going to pump you up.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe this was something that was going to be scary and disturbing. You know, it was October.
I don't know. Sometimes 6 to 10 is that on the show.
Okay.
And we don't even need any audio. Yeah. All right. There's Nick. There's Jimmy. I'm Gary. Coach Sam Stanley, Steve Sipple, Brian Edwards. They will all join the Thursday party on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
We created a simple PDF that gives you everything you need to know about branding, designing, and building a website that increases revenue. Download the website playbook for free at jmonline.com. If you're considering a website project but not sure who to hire, go to jmonline.com and download the free website playbook. It's a guide to a high-performing website. That's jmonline.com.
Vala's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vala's has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vala's, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Vala's Pumpkin Patch best of all.
I'm Christy. I used to smoke cigarettes. I had smoker's cough and severe shortness of breath, and I knew I had to quit. Then I tried e-cigarettes, but I just ended up using both. I really didn't start to get better until I quit smoking completely. My tip to you is just cutting down on the number of cigarettes you smoke isn't enough.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Attention migratory bird hunters, it's time to get HIP, your new harvest information program number, that is. It's required by law and is done through the permit system on the Game and Parks website at outdoornebraska.gov. That'll wrap it up for now. You have a safe hunting season. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the 4-day super sale, October 13th through the 16th, and get 40% off paints and stains with prices starting at $26.69. That means 40% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, get 40% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Omaha Maverick Hockey is at Baxter Arena for their season opener this Friday and Saturday when they welcome Niagara. Pre-game is at 6:45, puck drops at 7 p.m. It's UNO versus Niagara this weekend on your home for Maverick Hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
Fear has a name. For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods. Scary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions. 172nd and Giles. Sponsored in part by Raising Cane, Stereo West, and Ivy.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Let's lock in on this moment right now. Let's lock in on this moment right now. Let's all just be here for a second, all right? I'm dead serious. Like, take a minute. Let's be everybody be right here. Okay? You guys worked your ass off to be right here. So let me tell you what's going to happen today. Okay, let me tell you what's going to happen today. We're putting away childish things. Okay, we're putting away fear because there's no reason for us to be afraid. Okay, we're putting away expectation. We are going to go out there today, and we are going to play the way we play. It's about our football. It's about the things you freaking guys do. I don't want anybody on that field hoping or waiting. I want guys out there demanding it from themselves and believing in the guys next to them, believing in what they do. I want to see your personalities come out tonight. As long as you just win one rep at a time. I just want you one rep at a time. I don't want you getting pulled out. I don't want you thinking about the score. I don't want you thinking about shit else, man. Just like if we played these guys at practice. How would you guys be? You go after them. And that's what's happening tonight. I believe in you guys. That was clear. The coaches believe in you guys. You guys believe in each other, believe in yourselves, believe in the process, one snap at a time. RDB, every snap, what's next? Play like brothers. Play like brothers. Pick each other up. Help each other out tonight, man. That's why we've gone through what we've gone through. The camp you went through the first 2 weeks, but there ain't no victims here. If we die, we die. If we die, we die. Let's go steal home base like Ron said. Go do it tonight. Go make your place. Go be you. Just be brotherhood. Let's go, man.
Wow.
Poll question. Oh. Okay, poll question. Did Trev Alberts actually hire Al Pacino to run Nebraska's football program?
There was, I was waiting for the 6 inches in front of your face.
All right, so that is a clip that was released last night. The Nebraska media team, let's say Nebraska football hasn't beaten a team that finished ranked since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
But the Nebraska media team, they're like beating everybody. So they put out yesterday, and it's you got to spend some time watching it. It's called GB Rewind. They put out 2 episodes. That speech was in the Nebraska locker room right before they played Northern Illinois in week 3. That, of course, is the head coach who dropped a little Pacino in there because he said, if we die.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Pacino said, you're going to see a guy who will sacrifice. Like if he would have gone into Pacino, if he would have said, you're going to see a guy who will sacrifice himself for the team because he knows that when it comes down to it, you are going to do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen.
That's what living is.
And either we heal now as a team or we will die as individuals. That's what football, guys, that's all it is.
All it is.
So
Now,
what are you going to do?
Yeah. So I thought
Sorry,
he
I
was
couldn't help
going
it.
a little Pacino there, but it is it's a good insight. There's a lot of rural locker room speeches. So it is out there if you would like to grab that content.
Eat
But
it up
hopefully
for
that
your
has
bye week.
made it your morning. We do apologize. There was a swear word that I think George Carlin said we can't air that one.
He pottied.
Good job,
Potty on
Jimmy.
that one.
Jimmy just got us fined by the FCC because of Matt Rule.
I thought he would say poop.
You can parents. You can explain that one way to your kids if they ask.
If we die. Now that would be unfortunate because we probably wouldn't play Northwestern next week.
Now, I know the meat of this is definitely his words, his speech, Matt Rule getting fired up, but can we give credit to the Nebraska media team, the score behind it?
Just the subtle and it's
the Nebraska media team's unbeaten.
Yeah. They're doing the good work.
But let me
like the access.
Let me ask you something here, boys. So Nebraska's 3-3, and we had a good discussion on the crossover about Nebraska's path to a bowl game. And I mean,
well, we talked about what bowl game for selfish reasons.
At this point, Joe, go ahead and be selfish. I mean, we want to go to a good site.
Lovely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we started selling ourselves on Detroit, though.
Well, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do.
I've been there.
I don't think it's the worst place in the world.
I don't really care. If they're playing in December, that's a good thing. I don't care if we're going to Uzbekistan again to play, because I enjoyed that trip. That was a tough game, but Nebraska went there and played a game and did pretty well.
A lot of fan support there too.
There is. Hey, that's a big GBR, but maybe we don't want to go to that, the part of the world right now. We just leave that alone.
Yeah.
But so, there's maybe Wisconsin, Iowa that are definite bowl teams out of the West.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's kind of a crapshoot, which actually is okay for Nebraska because they still have a few of those teams left to play in the West, including Northwestern and Purdue, but they do have Iowa and Wisconsin on the back end to play. But listening to a lot of the discussion this week, now remember, the football team's 3-3, and I said yesterday, man, if they make a bowl game with everything that has gone on this year, with who is not here and who's not available and what is available, that's a hell of an accomplishment. Are people mad? Like, what's the general tone of the Nebraska football fan right now? Are you a split personality because you like Tony White and you hate Marcus Satterfield, or you don't know what to think of Marcus Satterfield? It's a weird. I was listening to a lot of radio yesterday, and our great listeners here on the Zone. I don't know. It's quite the wave of emotions for a team that's 3-3, and probably a lot of the people thought they would be 3-3. At this point.
And I think Sip kind of wrote about this after the game on Friday, that 3-3 is kind of what a lot of people had forecasted, but it was how you got there, and it was sort of the twists and turns of getting to the bye week that it was a little different. And I think there were parts of this team that, and we talked about this a lot going into that first game of, okay, where's your biggest concerns compared to where are you confident? And some were a nice surprise, especially seeing how the defensive line came together so quickly and in the effort of stopping the run, how that has looked. So I think that was a pleasant surprise. But then maybe it was more hope that we were hearing Jeff Sims and just the overall quarterback position was going to turn the ball over less, and you were going to see consistent performance out of that. But the things that we did know, and we continue to talk about it, and it continues to take a hit, was as soon as Xavier Betts was gone, you started really looking at that wide receiving room, and then knowing that Marcus Washington wasn't full go going into that game against Minnesota, as far as his injury and leading up to that, you were really taking a hard look at that wide receiving room and saying, well, that doesn't look great, but maybe somebody young can emerge, or, maybe Alex Bullock will be, a go-to guy, and on third downs, Thomas Fidone right out of the gate is just going to, set the world on fire. And a lot of that was probably, once you kind of stood back and looked at the situation, like, okay, that maybe makes more sense. So I think there was some disappointment, pleasant surprise, and then, oh yeah, I guess this makes sense too. I'll continue to go back to the word conflicted, because there is reason to be optimistic about where this team is in certain areas, but then there's also curiosity on the offensive side of the ball of how that will evolve, whether it's under the current play caller and offensive coordinator, the quarterback situation itself, and what that means. It's hard not to start thinking about the future when you look at what you have on the roster right now. And then, of course, there was the obvious on the offense too over the last month, and that's the injuries that have limited an already limited offense. So I think that makes people a little queasy thinking about that. But then you're able to kind of turn it back around and say, well, got a good defense. You got a couple opponents coming up in the Big Ten West, a division that's not strong this year, where there is tangible reason to believe that you can get to a 6-win season. So it's a lot of give and take. I mean, it's not all, I don't think it's all like learned behavior of being jaded for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that there's a little bit of the which weakness will the strength, I guess maybe that's a better way. Will the strength of Nebraska overcome the weakness in those games that are gettable? In the next 3 games, is the strength Nebraska's defense? Can that overcome the weakness, the offense? And then what role does special teams have? So again, it's just, I just think that Nebraska fans, and I don't blame them, are conflicted about.
Boy, we've taken a turn on Ed Foley. Oh, we loved Ed Foley. We're going to have a piece of pie.
Mm-hmm. At any diner, in any diner that he would recommend to Nebraska.
The City Cafe. Mm-hmm. Now Ed Foley is like, hey, friends of Matt Rule. Mm-hmm. We like friends of Tony White. So you know, I don't know why people would be mad. I mean, I think I use the word conflicted, because this has been a year where if you begin the season, you thought, well, defense is going to struggle, offense is going to be okay. I'm going to think that Jeff Sims can get fixed. Well, you've completely turned around, because if there are 2 major things about this season through the first 6 games that give you hope, either for the back end of the 6 or in the future, it is the way the defense has performed. And then I think another subtle thing through all of this is their freshman class, true freshmen, the first recruiting class of Matt Rule.
Mm-hmm.
Not his full first class, but the first class that was signed under Matt Rule. A majority of those guys have either, well, one have made a road trip, a conference road trip, or there is a solid 10 that have played. Now, remember, there's 2 that you lost to season-ending injuries in Maverick Noonan and Dwight Boodle. Those are 2 things that I think would give you hope. But when we sift through all of this and you come out the back end of the 23 season, the fact that they have been willing, either sometimes forced, but willing to play young kids right away, bodes well for the future. I think that's a sign of hope. And then along with this defense, and then another sign of hope is, there'll be an ongoing discussion about Tony White and what he wants to do and where he's going to go. I'll tell you that, and I don't think Tony White's popular, no doubt. I mean, he's trending to 3 straight years of a top 30 defense that he's coordinating, but he does have a mission with Matt Rule. The thing in the offseason will be to ward off anybody that is coming to kick the tires on the defensive staff, not the coordinator, but the defensive staff.
Yeah.
That you keep those guys together for year 2, so there's a whole familiarity going on. But those are 2 things. If you're trying to sift through the conflicted of what this football team is, those are 2 things that stand out to me through 6 games that give you hope for the back 6 and then in the future.
Yeah, and I that's why I've always felt like it's okay to kind of look at this season in varying lenses. It's okay to have a little bit of pessimism because of the things that you've seen, but also, as we tend to do, we don't kind of take a step back and look at, okay, where are you at in the first year of a football program, the head coach? Because once things get rolling, you get into college football mode. You get into football mode of you want your team to win every shot out, and every chance you get, and it doesn't look great, it's easy to be like, okay, what the hell are we doing? And it sometimes takes a little bit of restraint to say, oh, wait, okay, you got some guys in this place, you got some guys in this spot that are learning. You've got people that are coming together. And then you've kind of look at the defensive side of it where you're like, wow. I mean, I know personally when I saw them against Minnesota, how quickly Minnesota was abandoning the run and how quickly that they decided to kind of get out of their offensive identity. I just, to me, was almost a shocking development of how quickly, right out of the gate, they were able to do that. And then you kind of see them in different types of settings. The Colorado game the following week, where the entire first half, going into the locker room, the most dominant unit in that entire game going into the locker room against Colorado was the Nebraska defense. Okay, unfortunately, their offense had shot themselves in the foot. So it's just so much give and take with that, because you look at and you can try to just explain away the mistakes that you see offensively, but then you see some of those remedial turnovers, and in my opinion, it's okay to be frustrated about that. In my opinion, like when you see a quarterback dropping a snap, it's okay to be upset about that. It's okay to say that's unacceptable, because that to me is not a teaching technique. That to me is not this Jeff Sims just getting used to this offense. No. Those things, especially for a guy who's played enough college football, you should expect more than. But then there's other things that have limited this offense with the injuries, where maybe sometimes we are a little bit unfair to what we think this offense should be able to do.
Isn't if you love Bill Parcells, Richie and Papillion is doing a cartwheel right now, and his famous line, "You are what your record says you are."
Yeah.
Yep. Isn't that what Nebraska is?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they're 3-3. They're a 500 team.
Yep.
They have one good side of the ball that still got some work to do, but the passing number is a little bit skewed. I'll get into that a little bit later. But they're 3-3, so they are what their record says they are. Now, if they were 4-2, would you feel any different? Because the one game is the Minnesota game. But I think 3-3, Bill Parcells, this is a Bill Parcells team.
Yeah.
You are what your record says you are. And considering where Nebraska has been and everything they've overcome, I think I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
Now, the goal is to be 3-3 or better. I mean, you can't go 2-4, 3-3 or better in the second half. But right now, this is the Bill Parcells team. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, bye week at the perfect time and a chance to do some really good things over the next.
And then
couple
also,
weeks.
let's be honest. Depending on what where the Dairy Raid offense is going in Wisconsin, you could make a case. You might get muted in different fan bases. You could make a case that Nebraska kind of is, with Iowa and Wisconsin ahead of them. A lot of it has to depend on what happens this weekend with that game in Madison. I mean, Nebraska could stumble their way into being right in the mix to win the West.
Yeah.
It's probably going to end up being one of those seasons. Now, I don't know that you want to win the West and go to Indianapolis and play Michigan or Penn State or Ohio State, but that's for a whole different thing. But you got to put a banner up.
Could it? Let me ask you this: could it be worse than 70 to what was it? Against 70 to 26, 36?
I only remember what the Broncos lost to the Dolphins 70-20.
Oh, okay.
So what happened in that game.
The last time Nebraska was in a Big Ten championship game didn't go well. So let's get there. Let's take our chances.
Here is Brian on the 42 Degree, the Source Hotline. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. How are you, sir?
Oh, not too bad. Hey, just wanted to ask or kind of give you my opinion.
Go ahead.
Why is it that Satterfield gets a free pass?
Ooh. Are you thinking he's getting a free pass, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Tony White's had injuries.
Okay. So here, I'm curious on your thought on him. I will say my sphere, it's very mixed on how to judge what Satterfield is doing because of things that he doesn't have at his disposal. But there's people like, you know what, guy's going to get a pass because this isn't what Nebraska wants to be like. And then there's others like, this is a bad offense. He's trending of an offense that he directs that turns the ball over a lot. But how do you feel about him through 6 games?
Okay, so talent. Okay, wait. Well, how am I trying to say it? Okay, it doesn't take talent to not, jump off sides. That's not a talent issue. I mean, that's fundamental. Fumbling the snap. I heard you say that. I don't know. To me, maybe, and this is just speculation. Heck, I don't know. Maybe Sims is over. Maybe he's thinking about me. Maybe they have too much. Maybe they have him trying to process too much before. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about that. Why he'd fumble a snap or multiple snaps, like you were talking about in the Colorado game.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me phrase it this way, Brian, and I'll ask you a question concerning Satterfield. Is whether you like what he's doing, that they're making an attempt to run the ball in different ways, or trying to work with Harburg. Do you think that the whole conversation with Satterfield and his offense this year starts with the poor decision on Sims?
It has somewhat to do with it, yeah. I mean, but it should look a little. Come on, it should look a little bit more sound. I'm not saying it should be juggernaut, but you know what I mean. It should be a little more sound, not so many penalties. it needs to be cleaner, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
Satterfield doesn't even have a background with the option.
No, he doesn't.
They had to bring in Brown, and sound like maybe Osborne was involved. I don't know. I'm just, you've even mentioned it. South Carolina wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be under the microscope for the last 6 games on what they find that the quarterbacks are comfortable with and what they run, and not calling. And thank you, Brian, for the call. Calling plays for the quarterback's abilities, not for what they would like to be. I mean, that's the transition, to be innovative and not be, we always say innovative and they're like, oh man, that guy, that's fancy. Look at Washington's offense. They got guys running everywhere.
Yeah.
Nebraska's will be in the last 6 games, having an understanding of what your quarterbacks are comfortable with running, and then running that, not trying to make them do something that, man, I know we got to do this here, like end of the first half against Illinois.
Yeah. And that's where I think you're going to know all you need to know about Marcus Satterfield in the first year. Is I think this is kind of a big week for him as well. It's a big week for the offense, but I think for an evaluation of what this offense is doing, that starts and it stops with Marcus Satterfield. Is what are they doing? What does Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield want to see this offense be able to really hone in on? Because as far as some of the knocks that I would have on Marcus Satterfield, there are times in games where you're kind of scratching your head of three passes there in a row, and there's been moments like that. But I would also say
he's not an elite play caller, so he can't. So he doesn't have the tools in the toolbox to overcome some of the things that are at hand.
Yes,
I will tell you, the last 6 games, I'm not really focused on Satterfield, the OC. Satterfield, the quarterback coach, going to have to earn his pay.
There you go. Yeah.
Because people are on to Harburg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're dropping 8 into coverage. Guys are, they're playing the boogeyman when they come up, and they're like, waving their arms in the air, hoping to knock down a pass. So Satterfield, the quarterback coach, I think is more important than Satterfield, the OC, because trying to get Harburg to become a quarterback on what they need to maybe score more than 3 touchdowns in a game, I think what he does as an OC. Now, they both go hand in hand. I'm looking at what he does with Harburg now that there's film on Harburg as they move forward for the last 6 against all conference teams.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with that. I think that's a fantastic point. The one thing, though, that our caller brought up about, he has no background in the option, you're leaning on Ron Brown. I actually look at that as a positive towards Marcus Satterfield, meaning you are working with a quarterback that has a strength, something he's familiar with, and you feel like you have enough personnel at least to run the bare bones of an option look. And as rare as the option is now, it can become somewhat tough to defend. So you can implement that, but in not having familiarity with it, you do reach out to people who, whether it's within your staff or people within your orbit, that you're able to kind of pick their brain on how to kind of run the basics of it and to have another dimension to your offense. To me, that is actually working to the strength of your quarterback. And even if you don't have the expertise, I think it takes a solid leader to be able to say, you know what? I don't know that much about this, so I'm going to lean on someone who does. I'm going to educate myself in the process, and let's all kind of learn it and move forward together. To me, that's actually, I look at that as a positive.
I wonder how much more of the reins of the offense Rule takes in the last 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Stanley, head football coach at Elkhorn North. He's coming up at the bottom of the next hour. We'll get an update with Jimmy as well. Plus, more on the night in baseball last night that saw the Dodgers go down, the Twins go down, and maybe the Braves go down today. There are a lot of 100-win teams that are not going to be playing the next round. And by the way, here you go, Rain Man over there. 5th straight year, the World Series will have a place in Texas.
Yeah.
Hotbed of baseball.
That's right, because you had the bubble.
Yeah.
The COVID World Series.
Yep.
People forget the Dodgers' only World Series was in the COVID.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of interesting to realize
Could they have been behind the
with
pandemic?
not only the second consecutive ALCS appearance, but they've been able to qualify in 7 different cities. It has not been in Houston every year. It's been on the road in the majority of them.
And it's inevitable. Hey, Dusty Baker, Bruce Bochy, that's kind of good. That's going to be a little fun.
Love what he said last
2
night.
octogenarians.
I know him. And he knows me.
I do. And we know sports.
Just don't break a hip.
Remember when that was a slogan on this station? Hour 2 coming next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a significant delay from 192nd to 168th along Center. Then on Dodge, there's going to be just a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Les Hills Harley-Davidson.
Join Les Hills Harley-Davidson and Jenny Edmondson Hospital for Breast Cancer Awareness Poker Run. It's October 14th with free breakfast, free will donation, raffles, and more, with proceeds going to Jenny Edmondson Hospital for Breast Cancer Awareness. Get details at leshillshd.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Football season has arrived. You'll be going to games, and maybe you have seats high up. Well, go to Kugler Vision and make sure that you can see all of the action on the football field. Low monthly payment plans are available, and Kugler Vision gladly accepts your flex plans and medical spending accounts too. Give them a call at 402-558-2211 or schedule online at kuglervision.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Vala's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vala's has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vala's, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Alice Pumpkin Patch best of all.
In Omaha, Bailey's Breakfast is the king of sausage, which is why they celebrate Sausage Fest. It's everything sausage, from Italian, Polish sausage, and andouille to hot links, maple patties, and chorizo. Even live music from Barry Boyce. Get details at baileysbreakfast.com.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? Because everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
The pandemic is over, but COVID-19 is here to stay. In fact, it's still among the top 5 leading causes of death in the U.S., just after heart disease and cancer. So this fall, stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines, just like you do with the flu, because you've got no time for 19. The vaccine may not be for everyone. Please consult with your doctor. Brought to you by Moderna.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
7:06. Sun will be up here about noon. Who's just joining us? Red overcame an early 2-run deficit in the series finale of Nebraska baseball's Red-White Series to clinch the series with a 9-4 win yesterday afternoon at Haymarket Park. It was a perfect night for baseball, or a perfect day for baseball. Red scored 9 runs on 6 hits. The White had 4 hits on 10 hits and 3 errors. Weather is going to impact a lot of things. We already heard in the first hour about some high school football that's been moved up today because of the anticipated weather later on this afternoon and evening. Due to projected weather in the area, the Nebraska soccer team has moved up their game with Maryland to 1:05. It was originally scheduled for tonight at 7.
tickets previously purchased for the evening game will be honored for that 105 contest. For the same reason, Creighton women's soccer match against Seton Hall has been moved up 2 hours. It was supposed to kick off at 6 at Morrison Stadium. They'll now kick it off at 4. Omaha volleyball extends their winning streak to 6 matches with a clean sweep of Denver. Entering the match, both teams had a share of first place in the Summit League. Not anymore. That now belongs solely to the Mavericks. They improved to 6-1 in league play. The Red Hot Mavs next host North Dakota Saturday at high noon. Baseball last night, Astros eliminate the Twins with a 3-2 win at Target Field. It'll be the Astros and Rangers in the ALCS for all of the ribs, brisket, and sausage. That begins Sunday in Houston. In the National League, the Dodgers failed to show up and are promptly swept by the Fighting Snakes last night in Phoenix. 4 home runs, solo home runs in the third inning. That was enough for Arizona as they advanced to the NLCS for the first time since 2007. And then they went for a swim afterwards. They eliminated LA 4-2. They'll await the winner of Philadelphia and Atlanta, who play Game 4 tonight in Philly after Bryce Harper powers the Titans to a 10-2 win in Game 3. The 106-win Braves are now 1 game away from elimination once again. Football tonight of the professional variety, Chiefs and Broncos tonight at Arrowhead, and Andy Reid likes Sean Payton.
He's a good coach. We're all in it for the competition. Yeah. And so I appreciate the job he does, and, look forward to having an opportunity to play against him again.
I bet he does. I bet he does. As the Chiefs are a 10.5-point favorite, Travis Kelce expected to play tonight. His lady friend may be in attendance tonight.
No, she will. She confirmed it last night.
She will be in attendance. Well, then, she'll be in attendance before going to Pound Town after and likely throughout the weekend. Finally, with Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito, and other hockey greats in the building to sell. Well, you know that's what I mean.
No,
the weekend
we don't know that.
We don't know.
He's got a bad ankle.
Well,
you got to be careful. Yeah.
She'll take that into account. Anyway,
Okay.
Connor Bedard takes another early step towards joining some of the hockey greats as he is now fast on track to catch Wayne Gretzky as he gets his first goal, his first career NHL goal. However, the Bruins won 3-1. Shout out Steve when David Pastrnak scored to break a second period tie and added an empty netter for Boston, which won its season opener a year after setting NHL records for wins and points, then losing in the first round of the playoffs. They'd like to get back there this year and have it go a little bit differently.
Bedard got his first goal, and same night that Austin Matthews got the first hat trick of the season. Young guns are good.
It's good for the game.
14-year-old Connor Bedard.
Bedard's going to be really, really good. All right. Thanks, Jimmy. So tonight we do have the Chiefs and the Broncos here on the Zone. If you would like to hear Mitch and Dana Hughes and Art Hayes and who else is on that? Josh Klingman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's over on 1290. I'll give you a little stat here. The weather could be a little tricky. Now, you've already said you got Kansas City covering the 10.5-point spread.
Yeah.
That's a big number in the NFL. Okay.
Yeah, if I had a gun to my head, I'd probably say
And
the
I
same.
know that if the Chiefs win tonight, they've won 16 in a row against the Broncos, which is pretty crazy, considering that the Broncos used to be good. And I'm a little bit hesitant. Okay. Because I think, Russell Wilson has had a nice little season. I do know that Patrick Mahomes is going up against a Denver defense, and it's not necessarily throwing the ball. They'll be able to run the ball at will because that Denver run defense is not very good. They give up almost 6 yards per carry. I'm going to give you a little nugget. All right, you guys like my nuggets?
I love nuggets.
Patrick Mahomes is 24-0 against teams that enter the game with a record of 500 or below. 24-0.
That is why you are one of the best right there.
Thank
Patrick
you.
Mahomes.
You beat who you're supposed to be.
You too,
Thank
Gary,
you.
with that info. But yes, just exactly what Jimmy said.
Okay,
there.
let me give you a couple other things. One, I don't know if the Broncos, because I've already looked ahead to the line next week when Green Bay plays in Denver. Green Bay is a 1.5 favorite in that game. I don't know if Denver will play another game this year that they're favored. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's
Not unless something
highly unlikely.
dramatically
Yeah,
pops. Yeah.
highly unlikely.
So there's also a little another nugget concerning Patrick Mahomes, is this will be the first time in his career that he has faced a team that is last in the NFL in scoring defense. So the Broncos, and of course, when you give up 70, it's going to skew the number, just like Nebraska's pass defense numbers are skewed a little bit by Colorado. Denver gives up 36.2 points per game. This is the first time that Mahomes has gone against the worst scoring defense in the NFL. So do what you will with that. But this looks like, because of the weather, because I don't know, Kelce will play because it's a primetime game. and he's 14-3 against the Broncos. If Stibbs didn't know that, is this feels like a 280-yard passing night with just one touchdown.
Okay.
But Pacheco has a great game on the ground. McKinnon as well. That's what. So I think Russell Wilson actually will have a better passing game than Patrick Mahomes, and I think
because he'll be behind.
Because there's another prop out there that mark it down. Pacheco anytime rushing touchdown. Go with that.
Doesn't it feel like forever since the Broncos
good?
Gary Kubiak and Peyton Manning were together and they won that Super Bowl in 2015. It's just crazy to think that's the last time that the Broncos beat the Chiefs. Like in the
Thursday night game.
That's why I'm a little bit nervous, man.
The wacky world of the NFL. It's been that long.
Hey, you never take anything for granted, and
that was an upset too.
Through the first 5 weeks of the season, road teams in the NFL have held their own.
Yeah.
It's either the road teams have won 4 more games or the home team has won 4 more games. So there isn't much of a difference. And I know they're 10.5-point favorite. The Broncos are the Broncos. Just, I'm not, I like the Chiefs. I'm just a little cautious on making it 16 in a row because I know this is the NFL and it's a short week and you never know what you're going to get out of Denver. You're going to get a bad defense. I don't know you get Judy and Sutton, but you might get, Russell Wilson, may do a play or two.
Well,
Frank Clark ain't playing. Nick Bolton is, though. That's a huge pickup for the Chiefs.
I would tell you this, though. The only time that I really saw that offense, the Broncos, and I've watched them play 3 times this year, that I've seen them actually in sync, like where you're like, oh, okay, was against the Bears defense. And that was when they were down 28-7, where I also think the Bears defense was getting a little complacent, if you will, too. So, there's also, you brought up Patrick Mahomes.
Who doesn't bring up Patrick Mahomes every hour?
Well, no, anymore. It's not Patrick Mahomes' team anymore. It's Taylor Swift's boyfriend. I'm sorry. It's just, to me, it's not going to get old.
Yes, to me, it got old.
Sure got old a long time ago. I like when I think of the Thursday night, like uncertainties, or you always talk about you hear about the equalizers on Thursday night football, and it's a real thing. Even the teams that look like they're the superior roster with that short turnaround, it can be a weird looking game. I think maybe one of the good things that the Chiefs have going for them, if you're a Chiefs fan and you want to look at this game and feel good that there's no overlooking or there's no, kind of dropping your guard, is I still think Patrick Mahomes is extremely motivated to be playing his best game. And I think primetime Pat at home, a rival that'll kind of amp it up a little bit. To me, if you are trying to look at the schedule and say, hey, I think this is where Patrick Mahomes has his best game, I think you could look at a matchup like tonight. And I know it sounds crazy with the short week and all, but I feel like you've got a quarterback who kind of sees through a lot of that stuff, and just his overall preparation and his overall motivation of, he hasn't played to his standard yet this year.
He's working some new wide receivers. I don't think it's all on Pat.
Sure. Oh yeah. I'm not saying it's on Patrick Mahomes, but I think he feels motivated to put out that type of performance that he's going to feel like he did everything. And I mean everything to distribute the football to make sure that offense was clicking in high gear against a defense that is there for the taking. And so I almost look at this game as, sorry, Denver, this could be a big night for 15.
See, I think it'll be a big night for 10 and whoever's running the ball. That's where I'm going because the weather could be just nasty at Arrowhead. Keep this in mind. The Bronco run defense through 5 games has given up 958 yards. 958 yards in 5 games. You remember the Ravens Super Bowl defense in 2000?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know how many rushing yards they gave up the entire year?
It was less than that.
Probably like 700 yards.
970.
Well,
over 16 games.
That just shows you how porous the Bronco run defense is. So,
I mean,
so I'm not going to
defense was good,
I'm
but
not going to overthink it. They'll run the football tonight. So this just feels like a 280-yard passing night. 1 score. Kelce doesn't play much. It's a easy breezy. We win the game. I don't know if they cover. Just get in, get out, short week, and then let everybody have an off weekend and let all the TMZers around Kansas City go and find Kelce and Swift.
Where will Kelce and Swift be?
All right.
Barbecue.
A little bit later in the hour, Sam Stanley, head football coach at Elkhorn North. They've got Bennington coming up tomorrow night. Two monster matchups. Sorry, I stole your line. You have West Side and Millard South, Bennington and Elkhorn North in A and B, respectively, all coming up tomorrow. Coach Stanley will join us within the hour. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you can join. Now, Coach Stanley will not be at Woodhouse Buick GMC at 119th and I. But you know what? My man Xavier, who put me in a Buick Envision, will be there. They've got a large indoor showroom, 119th and I. You can shop in all kinds of weather conditions, and the weather next couple of days is going to be so you can find a new and pre-owned inventory that is best for you because they have simply something for everyone, from stylish SUVs to capable trucks. Yes, they also make car buying simple with a streamlined process, in person or online. And right now, how about checking out that Buick Envision? I like it. It's got heads-up display. It's got quiet tune technology, reduces blocks and absorbs unwanted noise. Or how about the Buick Enclave as well, or the GMC Sierra 1500? You can also find great deals right now, especially on Envision. See dealer for details. Offer expires at the end of the month. Deals galore and more. You can find it at Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Would you cheer against your team if it meant the team they were playing could make history?
No.
Hell no.
If I have the chance to witness something amazing happen, then I'd rather that happen, even if it's at the expense of my team.
Even in the championship game?
That is a terrible take.
Yeah.
I like my team and I like rooting for my team, but I'd rather experience the history just to say that I saw that, Like I was there.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
We're going to start the day off with a chance of a thunderstorm or two rolling through. Throughout the middle parts of the day will be fairly dry, mostly cloudy, and then into the evening hours, a chance of more severe storms rolling through the area, hitting a high of around 71 degrees. We'll be partly cloudy overnight with a chance of a small shower rolling through before we start a very windy Friday and Saturday. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
Don't miss a moment this fall. Head over to KuglerVision.com right now. That's KuglerVision.com.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a significant delay from 192nd to 168th along Center. Then on Dodge, there's going to be just a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Enjoy Romeo's Grande Pizza and Taco Combo. One large 2-topping pizza, 4 soft-shell tacos, chips, and queso dip for only $29.99. Only at Romeo's. Carry out only.
Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza. Not your typical restaurant.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Follow your imagination to the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. Bring the whole gang and explore for treasure on the pirate shipwreck. See how the West was fun. Pretend you're a superhero as you jump on giant bounce pads. Maybe reserve your own campfire rental where you can roast marshmallows and tell stories. It's all up to you. And of course, go on a hayride and grab your own pumpkin. Priced by the size, not the pound. Follow your imagination at the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. 48th between Cornhusker and Highway 370. More info at BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
Acura of Omaha has more than 50 new Acuras in stock and ready for immediate delivery. All models, including Integras, TLXs, RDXs, and MDXs. Get the best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Fear has a name. For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods. Scary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions. 172nd and Giles. Sponsored in part by Raising Cane, Stereo West, and Ivy.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, on my LinkedIn profile, I have this thing. I love money. I hate strategy. So this is like the Big Ten. We like Big Ten money, right?
Yeah.
We love Big Ten money.
Yeah.
Now, the three of us don't see any Big Ten money.
No.
Okay, but hopefully, Big Ten money helps the team that you have a passion for.
Mm-hmm.
And we like Big Ten money, and that means sometimes for money you got to do things. What was the old Dire Straits song? Money for nothing.
Money for nothing. Yeah.
And your chicks are free.
And your chicks are free. That, by the way, one of the best parts of the movie Air, the intro song.
Yes,
that was awesome. You knew you were in for a good movie just right out of the gate.
So if we take a lot of money, we got to put up with some things, right? And we talked yesterday about this, and it became even more of a topic because Deion Sanders has entered into the conversation.
Good morning.
About Friday night football and start times. So I love the money, hate the strategy. So the Big Ten has put it out there that next year there'll be at least 9 Friday games. Deion Sanders yesterday decided that, you know what? I don't like playing Friday night football at 8 o'clock local time. So it's 10 o'clock on the East Coast when Colorado and Stanford play tomorrow night. Folks, get ready for this because this is going to be the case. Is Nebraska, I had the whole thing yesterday where why isn't Nebraska ever mentioned about logistical challenges? Okay, there's some serious logistical challenges at the University of Nebraska to put 90,000 people in a stadium for a Thursday night. Okay, you can do it for volleyball. That's a one-off. You're not going to do it, and you're not going to interfere with high school football. Okay, but here's what I'm thinking, and this is I'm just preparing you guys for anger next year. Nebraska is going to play a Friday night game. Now, it might be in Bloomington, Indiana. It might be on the West Coast, but those West Coast games, get ready. They're going to be starting at 9 o'clock here. So that there is going to be one West Coast primetime game a year beginning next year.
Mm-hmm.
They're kicking off at 7 o'clock. They don't want to kick that game off and have nobody in the seats. Okay, so 7 o'clock out there, better time. What does that mean here? We will have a conference game next year that will begin at 9 o'clock.
Shades of Nebraska, Fresno State that one Saturday night.
You can move the high school games up to 6, and everyone could be home by 9, and
Yep.
there, everyone's happy.
Were you on Big
kind
Red
of.
Overreaction for that one?
I don't even remember. A long time ago, Nick.
It was a long time ago, but I remember leaving the bars. I watched the game at the observatory and getting out of there well past 1 a.m.
So are you guys ready, though? Everybody mentally prepared for 9 o'clock Saturday night Nebraska football on the West Coast? Love the money. Love the money.
Yeah.
Hate the strategy.
I guess as ready as you're ever going to be when it comes to the constant changing landscape of college football.
Learn how to take a nap.
This is what you get when you now have a bi-coastal conference. This is what you get when the Friday night appeal is there for the networks. The inventory needs to be filled, and you want that product on a primetime audience. I mean, we could sit here and gripe about it, but it's not going to change. I mean, this is one of the many working pieces of college football that people eventually are just going to have to get used to.
So here's another part of this discussion. So I think Nebraska will be pretty adamant that we're not playing at home on a Friday. Is Nebraska draws eyeballs?
Mm-hmm.
Could Nebraska play 2 Friday night road games?
Oof.
Would that even be possible if you're the Big Ten and you're like, man, we got that Friday night thing. We got a fairly good brand. You know, they get eyeballs.
There'll be more of them.
They got a bigger brand on the television set than they do on the field right now. Do we have Nebraska play twice on a Friday? Because they will play on a Friday next year.
Not counting Black Friday.
I think it's very
I
possible.
like JP's thing. He should trademark this right now. Big Red After Dark.
Yeah, I love that.
Dump button is all.
Hey, Nebraska, you're not. You can't. We know you can't play at home. Wink, wink. But we're going to get you out twice on a Friday.
And see, that is where I think you need to read the room of the Big Ten and understand that if you're going to, especially 2 Friday night road games, where this is where I feel like there needs to be some type of equality there. There needs to be some type of, okay, every team is going to do this. Michigan, we hear you, you're not hosting. Ohio State, we hear you, you're not hosting. Folks, we're all going to be doing this in a 3-year span. Everybody's going to be playing a Friday night game, and you should not have to ever, especially, and again, I understand Black Friday is its own standalone thing.
Yeah,
it's not.
Don't use that.
Can't count that.
Don't use that.
But technically, that would be 3 then. Technically, that would be 3. And so I'd have a big problem with that. I accept the fact that Nebraska is probably going to be in a lot of Friday games. But to play multiple.
One a year.
Yeah.
I'd already planned to stay over Friday night next year in Bloomington.
Bloomington would be a lot better than the West Coast.
Yeah, someone on the stream had said that yesterday. It's like right there, Nebraska, Indiana.
Channel 3 Sean says, if I can stay up until 3 a.m. to listen to Nebraska, Kansas State, and Tokyo, I can handle 9 p.m.
Hardcore.
Well, let's hope there's no Friday night overseas games.
There's some parties if 9 o'clock kickoff. But whether it's Friday or Saturday, you're going to have to prepare yourself. There is going to be 9 o'clock central kickoffs
Big Ten
next year in the Big Ten.
Yep.
Because playing on the West Coast, there's going to be one primetime West Coast game a week.
Yeah. We know they are not going to be playing 9 a.m. local time, but they will be, West Coast teams, sorry, but they will be playing some road games 11 a.m.
And you know what the kickback will be. Well, we're getting home at 5 a.m. I mean, imagine if like Maryland or Penn State goes across the country and they're playing at a 10 o'clock on the East Coast game.
Yeah.
So it's Penn, and this is probably the wrong thing to use because Penn State at Oregon is not going to be, well, I'm not going to say not, because I would see that would be more like a 12:30 West Coast game. But 10 o'clock out east.
Yeah, they wouldn't get home till like 6 a.m., 7 a.m.
Nope. I wonder if we'll get, if this becomes a thing, we'll get more Thursday night high school football.
That's what I thought earlier.
Because, I mean, ADs are looking out for that gate. I don't know. I don't know like how many were impacted this past Friday, but that's a serious consideration if you get to a point where people are choosing Nebraska ahead of going to a high school game.
Yeah.
If they were already going to go and then they're like, you know what, I'll stay home, watch the Nebraska game. I'll follow the high school game somewhere else. I mean, there'll be a lot of decisions made, but I think one definite, we're going to have a 9 p.m. Central, not always Nebraska, but 9 p.m. Central kickoff next year, every week in the Big Ten. And Nebraska will be playing on a Friday night on the road every single year. You just don't know if that's a Friday at 9 o'clock or it's I like the 7 o'clock kick at Illinois on Friday.
Or if you played in you mentioned Bloomington, if you play there, maybe you get the 6 o'clock kickoff because it'd be 7 o'clock there. So that'd be okay with that as well.
All right. Elkhorn North head football coach Sam Stanley. They got a monster game coming up tomorrow night out at Bennington against the number 1 Badgers, 2-time defending state champion in Class B. Coach Sam will join us coming up next. A little bit later, Steve Sipple will join us. I say that because I'm going the reverse jinx because he's always been consistent with us.
Yeah.
And then also Brian Edwards on a interesting weekend in college football. The West Coast is going to represent this weekend in college football. So B. Edwards will be coming up at about 9:45. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, at Woodhouse Mazda, you can get into the Mazda CX-5. It's the one that I drive. This is a crossover that has got it all. It's a sleek design, new look grille, matching body lower bumper. You also have the peace of mind of driving on any road condition with the standard iActive all-wheel drive, which Mazda offers on all of their SUVs now, which is fantastic. It comes equipped with a 2.5 turbo engine as well. You got the power of changing driving modes with their intelligent drive select technology, one of many features that you're going to love about the Mazda CX-5. Give a 2024 Mazda CX-5 turbo model a test drive today. Trust me, you're going to love it. Stop into Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda on 144th and Giles Road. Right now, you can choose 0.9% APR for 36 months or 2.9% APR for 60 months or 3.9% APR for 72 months. Always experience a streamlined sales process at WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com, where you can schedule a test drive, shop inventory, and even get your deal started online. That's convenience. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing. With approved credit, tax, title, and license extra when financed with Mazda Financial Services. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 10/31/23. See dealer for details.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air. Awesome. Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's 4-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
Katie was recently told by a competitor that her transmission needed to be replaced. She thought the cost seemed a little too high, so she called us. We towed it from that shop and verified the transmission was in fact bad. We did the job and saved her over $1,500. Sometimes a second opinion can save you a lot of money. Don't overpay. Call Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click Nebraska.beer to find brews near you.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Are you ready for your best year of health yet? Join Nebraska Medicine for Break for Breakfast, a free drive-through event that could make a life-saving difference.
On Friday morning, October 13th, drive through one of 3 locations between 6:30 and 8:30 for a free breakfast and crucial cancer screening information.
Did you know that early detection is key when it comes to fighting cancer?
That's right. And at Break for Breakfast, you'll get information about different types of cancer screenings without leaving your car.
And don't forget, a free and delicious breakfast.
Mark your calendar for October 13th from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and head over to one of these locations: Omaha Home for Boys off 52nd and Ames Street, Shadow Lake Town Center off 72nd Street and Highway 370, or Village Point Health Center just south of Dodge near 175th and Burke Streets.
Visit nebraskamed.com/breakfast for all the drive-through event details. That's nebraskamed.com/breakfast.
We created a simple PDF that gives you everything you need to know about branding, designing, and building a website that increases revenue. Download the website playbook for free at jmonline.com. If you're considering a website project but not sure who to hire, go to jmonline.com and download the free website playbook. It's a guide to a high-performing website. That's jmonline.com.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, high school football, 2 weeks to go in the regular season, and then the road to Memorial Stadium begins, and a great showdown out in Bennington. 2 great football communities, Elkhorn and Bennington. Coming up tomorrow night, Elkhorn North and Bennington. We welcome in the head coach of the Wolves, Sam Stanley. Coach, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Hey, so people know the story by now. Elkhorn North, which has been very, very successful in athletics, is only in its 4th year. So you take over a program and you got a bunch of wide-eyed freshmen and sophomores looking at you. Now you've got an older group and a large roster and a good program headed in the right direction. Number 2 in the state in year 4. Last year you saw Bennington twice. Didn't go so well. That's usually the case against Bennington. You're in year number 4 with a team that basically a lot of those guys were there last year that are playing again tomorrow night. Where's your team from the last time you saw Bennington to where you'll see them tomorrow night?
I think that we've come a long ways. We had a pretty young team last year. We had great senior leaders. Just didn't have a lot of seniors, and so the guys that we have this year are a very experienced bunch, and they've played a lot of football. And that development that's taken place in the last 12 months. In the off season and then obviously throughout the course of our season so far has been tremendous. The kids have done a great job, and they've worked really hard to get to where they're at.
Yeah, and Coach, along those lines, I was a part of a new football program at Millard West way back when, and I remember the first year we were pretty much everybody was playing both sides of the football, undersized. You had a lot of underclassmen, but just that first season of getting the reality dose of varsity football and being able to kind of capitalize on that experience into the following year. As a coaching staff, what was emphasized sort of in that process between years 1 and 2?
For us, the emphasis was really just development. We kind of viewed it as one 18-game season instead of 2 9-game seasons. We were in a unique position where we knew for sure we were going to have everybody back from year 1 to year 2. So we really just kind of looked at it as an extension of that first year as we moved into year 2. And so, as a coach, you know what you're getting yourself into when you take on something like this. But I really think that the perspective of the players for us was what was most important. We were blessed with some really selfless individuals who understood what we were trying to build and bought in and believed in it. Our seniors who were freshmen at the time, they stuck with it and endured some really tough times and continued to just push forward and work hard and keep their head down. So really proud of them for that. And it's definitely paid off for them.
So your resume and your football resume, people go, whoa. So you played for the legend, the Hall of Famer, Mark Wortman. You worked for Guy Rosenberg as his defensive coordinator. You had time at Nebraska as a student there. If I had not watched Elkhorn North and I'm coming to watch you play for the first time, and I know about Coach Wortman, I know what Guy's program is like at Elkhorn South. What did you take from both of those fine head coaches that is in your program right now?
Oh, man. The impact that those two guys have had on me is tremendous. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for each of them. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. And my hope would be that if you watch Elkhorn North play football, you see a little bit of both of them. We really pride ourselves on being able to run the football and being a hard-nosed physical football team. And, we also have some athletes that we think it's really important to take advantage of. So we try to spread it out and get those guys football in space. And, I would hope that somebody would see a little bit of both Coach Wortman and Coach Rosenberg when they watch us play.
Coach, everybody knows about Chase Lofton. The offers keep coming in for him. When you think of the tight ends, and we've talked about this on the show, the state continues to produce them, but everyone kind of always seems to have like their unique skill set and maybe a defining characteristic that's kind of got them there. And we were talking about development with this program too. When you think of Chase Lofton and just getting to where he is right now, what jumps off the page? What do people maybe not know about Chase Lofton and how he got here?
Chase has worked really hard at his craft. He dedicates a lot of time to it behind the scenes. He spends a lot of time working on his game. He spends a lot of time in the weight room with us, and so I think that's probably the first thing that I would point to. He's got a really special skill set. Guys that are as big as he is don't tend to be as athletic and move as well as he does. He's just one of those guys that kind of makes everything look, punts and kicks for us and does a tremendous job. And obviously, he's a great threat as a tight end and receiver, and he stepped in and played a good amount of defense for us as well this year. So he's a well-rounded athlete. The attention he's getting is well deserved, and I think the biggest thing with Chase is just what he puts into it year round.
And Chase is a junior. He's got 13 Power 5 offers. There's another guy on your roster that is getting a lot of attention, and I told you this last week. I told Joe Gans this, is I think you and I got a absolute steal in Sam Thomas, your offensive lineman. What stands out? Because you love to run the football. You love your offensive lineman. He's one of those guys that was there as a wide-eyed freshman to now he's trying to help you win a state title, and then he's going to get to play at the next level. What stands out about Sam Thomas?
He's a tremendous football talent. Again, talk about size and athleticism and physicality. He's kind of the total package. He can kind of do it all. What Sam has done as a leader for our program has been tremendous. He's kind of been one of our rocks since day one. I agree with everything you said. I think that he's one of the best that I've ever coached, and I think that you and I is getting a tremendous football player, but an even better person. Sam is a leader, and as a person, the way he treats other people, we're very lucky to have him.
You guys have been all business this year. You've got this big matchup against Bennington. It's maybe the ultimate measuring stick for the season as well, and gives you an idea of what it's going to look like going into the playoffs. What has this week of practice been like for you guys getting ready for this? I mean, just a little maybe more amped up. I mean, how has it just kind of been preparation-wise for Bennington?
It's been a great week, but at the same time, it's felt like a very normal week.
Mm-hmm.
The boys may have had a little extra juice, but we were just talking to the staff last night. It's been a great week of practice, but it's just felt very normal. And that's a testament to our kids. We've really strung together some weeks here where we've had great practice after great practice, and our guys are just kind of starting to buy into and get in the hang of just coming to work every day trying to get better. And they've really adopted that mindset, and it's shown. in our practices, and hopefully it continues to show on the field on Friday nights.
Sam Stanley, head football coach at Elkhorn North. Your defense stands out, 51 points allowed in 7 games. But I want to focus on your offense. You got a really good running back in Jet Tingelhoff. But you also are playing 2 quarterbacks. You have a sophomore in Ethan Beachy, and then you have Johnny Ferguson, who is the senior. How do you balance playing 2 quarterbacks and not really miss a beat with this offense?
That's a good question, because we didn't really have the intention of going down this road. But we had an injury. Johnny had a minor injury early in the season, and Ethan had an opportunity to play, and he did a tremendous job. And as we continue to evaluate the practice and in games, we feel like they both have a skill set that we're going to need if we're going to make a run at the whole thing. And so we're really excited about both guys. They've done a tremendous job. They have been outstanding in terms of splitting time and being team guys and really supporting one another. That aspect really couldn't have gone any better. So I'll tip my hat to them for that. But no, at the end of the day, we've, as a staff, we said we wanted to kind of have a decision moving forward, but both guys just keep playing really well. And so they're not making it any easier for us, but that's a really good problem to have. And we do feel like we're going to need them both. We feel like they each have a skill set that we're going to need to win. And we want to continue to get them reps and get them development. And as long as they're both able to help us win football games, that's going to be the case.
Coach, I know you don't have a lot of say in this, but where this game falls in the schedule, the penultimate game of the regular season before you get into the playoffs, do you like kind of where this is? And again, I don't want to keep harping on measuring stick, but however it goes, it gives you a true feel of, kind of, where you guys are. I know you guys feel very confident that, one of the best teams in the state and in Class B, but do you kind of like where this is so close to the playoffs?
Yeah. I think that, like you said, we don't have a lot of any control over what the schedule looks like. But I think that it's a really good measuring stick for us. So close to the playoffs, and really for us, for the rest of the season, we play nothing but good football teams. And so we've kind of built up to this, but obviously we've got huge test on Friday night, and then we end the season with Blair, who's a heck of a football team as well. So that's kind of been the message to our kids all year, is that we need to be playing our best football at the end of the season, and hopefully playing our best in November. So from that aspect, I think it's we like where it's at. We feel like we're ready to go.
Hey, we'll get you out on this, because when you were at Elkhorn South, you were there when they were also B, and then you were there when they made the transition to A, won a couple of state titles in B. You're back in B, and people should not overlook Class B, but especially in this part of the state. Coach, why is Class B football so deep? Like there are multiple teams that have a chance to win a state title, but the football is really good. What is it about Class B that I would make a statement like that, you think?
That's a good question. And I think it's a complex answer. I think there's really good football players in Class B. I think that's one thing that gets overlooked, is there's a lot of really good football players in this league, and I think that the coaching is tremendous. I think that the coaches throughout this league do a great job. And one thing I think that's unique about Class B is there's still a huge community aspect with most of the schools. And these coaches are building programs. They're not building teams. And I think that that's a huge strength for, that's kind of the way we look at our program. Waverly, Blair, Norris, all these other communities out here, Bennington, they're building programs. They're not building teams. And the community is still a huge part of the programs and of the schools. And I think that's a really strengthens the teams in our league. And I think it's really good football. It's super competitive. And I think that's just a testament to some really good football players. And again, I think there's some really good coaches throughout the league as well.
Hey, we appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow night. We'll see you there.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
That's Sam Stanley, head football coach at Elkhorn North. They're 7-0, number 2, 4th year of the program. They've been really good in volleyball. They've been exceptional in girls basketball.
Baseball, too.
Baseball, they've won championships. And football, they have built a program. That should be a lot of fun tomorrow night. You know about Bennington. Bennington's won 33 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So they have gone 2 straight state titles. Both of these defenses are really, really good. The weather probably won't be great tomorrow night, but you got Quentin Archer, who is nearly 1,000-yard running back for Bennington trying to run against that's defense. And then you got Jet Tingelhoff, who is, I think he's about 800 yards running against Bennington's defense. It's going to be a great game tomorrow night. I actually think it will be a more competitive game than the Class A 1 versus 2 in Westside and Millard South. And that's not a plug just because I'm doing the game on television. That's what I truly believe.
I've not seen either Class B team this year. I've seen both Class A teams, and I would tend to agree that I feel like Westside has got decisive advantage over Millard South.
Yeah, if you're a member of the 1982 Westside team, you should start to introduce yourself, if you haven't already, to the 2023 Westside team. Because the 82 Westside team, I'm told, is considered one of the best high school football teams around. Like there's a prep team in there, there's a North team in there. I would throw a Bellevue West team of late in there. But everybody talks about the 82 Westside team. I was, of course, not around.
Yeah, I was 3.
But the 2023 Westside team has a chance possibly to be the best ever.
That's saying something because, yes, even in my time of playing and covering high school football, there's been some very good teams. You're like, wow, okay, that one is just – that goes beyond. It transcends just a year as a state title. And there have been some good ones. But, yeah, that team, again, from what I saw against a banged-up Bellevue West team, too, it was almost kind of elementary. And what they've done to this point, too, the victory over Kearney last week, too.
Yeah, 56-0.
That's
Kearney's got a great program.
Yeah.
Everybody focuses on the offense, and there's a lot. Jamis Ross, Rizak, I mean, you go on and on, Caleb, Cotton, on and on. Tell you what, just like the 2 teams that are playing in B tomorrow night, Westside's defense is salty. Yeah. And that's why it's an interesting matchup, because Millard South's offense can put up big numbers. I was a little surprised that they only eked out a 14-10 win against Columbus. But I just, man, Westside's on a different level. But Buell will be packed tomorrow night. It'll be great. I love it. We don't get this. We get a 1 versus 2 matchup in both A and B on the same night.
Yeah. Good thing is rain will be out of the area by then. But yeah, it'll be
really
windy. Yeah.
Really? I was looking. I'm looking at a different forecast.
Hey,
that I was going to be all slickered up.
Do you got? Does Cox provide nice, cool slickers, embroidered ones, or is it bring your own slicker?
No, they provide some nice clothing, but not jackets.
Yeah, okay.
I was going to be dressed like I was working on, like I was crab fishing. I was like out in the middle of the ocean.
We're gonna have your rubbers on.
I wasn't gonna wear the rubbers.
You're not gonna wear the rubbers?
No, I don't wear rubbers. I'm just going to wear my regular hokas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't get those things damp, though, man.
All right. Steve Sipple's coming up in the next hour. But that's good that there'll be no rain. Both places will be packed.
The wind will be blowing, but you know what? That's how it goes.
You know what? Hey,
it's a nice night.
It's Nebraska. It's in October.
Yeah.
Jimmy, are you confident in this? I feel like you're maybe going the Josh Peterson route here. Are you jinxing something?
Oh, I don't like that.
I'm just saying if you are confident that the rain is going to be out of the forecast, because I think I might have saw a similar forecast as Gary that thought it might have a chance to linger into the evening. But if you know something that we don't.
I'm going to go 90%, but I'll have an update in the morning.
Oh, 90% that it doesn't?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I trust you.
Yeah. I will have a final prediction in the morning.
Just going to say
what it's doing.
I'm gonna go out. I don't trust you.
It's going to be chilly, though.
It is.
That much you know.
That I can guarantee.
All right. Thursday Night Football tonight, the Chiefs and the Broncos. Taylor Swift will be there. She's already said that she will be there.
Why doesn't she just sing the anthem?
It's a long season.
The national anthem is difficult to sing.
And that's Melissa Etheridge's territory.
No, the anthem is.
I'm not going to pretend I could do it,
just because you can sing on stage doesn't necessarily mean you can sing the anthem. I've tried.
All due respect, Gary, I wouldn't put your vocal talents up there with Taylor Swift, though, or stage presence. Now, I'm sure you could put on a hell of a show. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like she's more CHI health.
No.
You're more Baxter Arena.
Hey, I could be on an elevated platform and go, well, hello.
And then people just go nuts.
We have reached the first bridge. Are you ready to go with me?
Oh gosh, and then they tell a story, and then the song tells a story.
No, and then she starts wiggling her hips and taking big steps.
Could you do that?
Oh.
And then just bust out it, and then do that, and then just bust out into a national anthem.
I can do that.
All right. I don't
sing it like
I don't
William
understand.
Shatner.
I don't understand that. So you don't think you think the task itself for Taylor Swift to sing the national anthem would be
I don't
a little
know
bit
that
more
she'd
demanding
want,
than
I don't know that she'd want to, because if you mess up the anthem, it lives
Well,
with
that's
you
true.
forever.
That is true.
Maybe a playoff game?
Yeah, you're right. It's almost like it's.
And I don't need her sucking the oxygen out of the anthem. And also, like, the Swifties would get upset because of what the Chief fans holler at the end of the anthem.
Yeah, Chief. They're like,
You're disrespectful to Taylor Swift.
Yep. It's basically like, I hear what you're saying. It's basically like, Kansas and Wichita State. You don't play that team in basketball because
they do this year.
I know that's kind of funny they do, but they wouldn't. And we'd see a lot of Power 5 conferences not play the smaller school because you have nothing at all to gain and everything to lose. So is that kind of like Taylor Swift singing? It's like a D1 Power 5, like top 10 program trying to play its in-state like FCS opponent. Nothing to gain at all, everything to lose. Okay. You can convince me on that. That's cool.
Steven, you never know who's listening,
Steven
says
Sorry, Steven.
As a member of the, I didn't know if you knew Steven.
No, I was going back to the Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, so as
Steve
a member
Madden.
of the 82 team, we had 9 Division I athletes at Westside, but the 23 team is really much respect, keep it rolling. So that 82 Westside team blew out Lincoln Northeast. Dan Young, the late Dan Young, was the head coach. They beat him 34-0. Now, the playoffs were much shorter back in 82, and I know this for a fact. Westside scored 101 points in 3 games in the postseason. And you know how many points they gave up? 0.
That was like 0.
Yeah.
Like
85 Bears, hold my beer.
Yeah.
They
That's
were the
impressive.
originals.
Jeff Taylor was their quarterback. I met Jeff before. And I'm pretty sure, was Paul Myers? I think Paul Myers was a DB on that team.
Was he on 82? Okay. I thought maybe he was
Paul
a
Myers,
little
hold on.
younger.
Like, I want to believe that. Paul hasn't told me this. I think Paul Myers was an all-state defensive back at Westside.
Was he on that team, though?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to put the age to when he would have been at Westside. Maybe.
Well, so 82 Westside is considered one of the better high school football teams. 85 Prep, the 14 North team, the most recent Bellevue West state championship team I would put up there. But the 23 Westside team is like, all right, we need to be brought into the fraternity.
Yeah.
All right. 2 hours in the books. Steve Sipple's going to join us next hour. The pressing question. I do have a pressing question. Why do you laugh?
You're just saying it like, I don't know, like something's going to happen with Steve, with Sip.
Hey, Sip. Anybody ever gets into a text conversation with Sip, your mind would be blown. He texts like he talks. And there are other people that do that. I probably do the same thing. But we will ask the pressing question. Is Tommy Hill more valuable to Nebraska on the offensive side or the defensive side? Those were pressing questions during bye week.
That's what you want to know during a bye week.
On 1620 The Zone. Hey, a pressing question here is, what are you doing, new customers, to FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, when it comes to the NFL? Because new customers, listen to this. You can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time than to get in the action right now.
And the app, it is as easy to use as possible, and a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders. You've got same-game parlays we've been telling you about. In fact, same-game parlay, a very good one maybe. The Chiefs getting an alternate spread at 5.5. Russell Wilson, 200-plus yards. Isaiah Pacheco, anytime touchdown. Jerick McKinnon, anytime touchdown. One of the many ways that you can enjoy FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com, use the promo code ZONE, and kick off the NFL season. Again, that's FanDuel.com/zone. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21-plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620, The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain, time-saving traffic center. We have one accident to report at North 156th and F Street, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along Highway 370, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 60th to 36th. And on Dodge, be prepared for some delays from 94th all the way to 75th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Nanfito Heating and Cooling.
Firing up your furnace? Nanfito Heating and Cooling, a Rude Pro partner, will get your furnace in working order so you aren't left in the cold with residential installation, repair, and maintenance on all brands. Call Nanfito Heating and Cooling 402-515-5050.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Val's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Val's has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Val's, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Alice Pumpkin Patch best of all.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone.
Nothing gets you more amped up for NFL action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. John and Josh here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's right, $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. And with FanDuel, they've already got pre-made same-game parlays. Check out their recommendations. You can win big, not only on spreads, player props, over-unders, but a whole lot more. Just remember, FanDuel.com/1620.
John, we have reached week 6 of the NFL slate, and it's wild how before the season you're like, wow, this matchup is going to be huge, and now maybe it's not as big, but some that you didn't expect to be huge are. Go to FanDuel.com/1620, and whether it's your favorite team or your least favorite team, make some money this season. $200 in bonus bets, win or lose at FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's time for the Fall Haul at Northern Tool and Equipment. Get your hands on tough tools at prices that are tough to ignore. Got plans? Cancel them. Trucks in the shop? Borrow someone else's. Don't like saving money? Right. So head to the Fall Haul at Northern Tool. Back up the truck for the season's biggest event and save on generators, power tools, trailers, and more. Shop in-store or at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620, The Zone.
Halftime brought to you by Hart Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Hart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
$1 billion Powerball in California.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Well,
why could it be like Vermont or New Hampshire? Why's it got to be California?
Yeah.
I got everything in Chalk
one up for the little people, is what you're saying?
Yes. Welcome back in. Hour number 3. Steve Sipple is coming up at the bottom of the hour. One quick note here on Omaha West Side, which, yes, high school football in this town was a little bit different back in 1982. This is their schedule in 82. And thank you to Ed who shared this with me. They played Millard South, Lincoln East, Papillion, not Papillion La Vista, just Papillion, Omaha Bryan, Creighton Prep, who scored the most points against West Side that season than anybody else. They scored 8. They played Ralston, Omaha Gross, Omaha Benson, Omaha Tech.
Omaha Tech was still around.
That was their schedule in 82. A little bit different landscape.
Yeah. Millard South would have been new instead of Millard High. I think they would have been like 2 years, because I think in 1980 is when they split into Millard South, Millard North, I think.
Look at the consistency in the playoffs, though. Practically the same score.
No, what? Did Millard North 83? Well, what's Fred been at Millard North? 40 years?
Yeah.
Was it 83?
Was
83 the first time Millard North opened up?
Yeah, I guess he would have opened, or he would have been the original. And see, we were talking about the best. I still, just because I followed them the entire year, all the way to their dominating state championship game, though, in 03, but Millard North 03 was really good. Very, very good. They
stick to baseball at Millard North.
Now that is another one.
Now they're one of the best teams of all time, I think, across the board in
05,
high school athletics.
Yes,
the 05 Millard North baseball team.
I just happen to have a front row seat to that. But in 03, which ironically had some of the baseball players in that 05 team that were on that 03 team, that was still one of just their offensive line. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I knew that they held their opponents to like less than 10 a game, and they were averaging over 40 a game. And guess what offense they were running? Yeah. And I mean, it's just
the dairy raid that they're running at Wisconsin.
The dairy raid, yes. They were a bunch of, it was like a small college offensive line. I mean, they were big dudes, very physical, from your fullback to your quarterback to you had speed in the right places. You had stickers on the defensive side. It was a good team, and they looked the part. And they it was kind of laughable what they did in that 03 season. There was just no real challenges. So
high school football around here must have been really good in the 80s, because that prep team in 85, that is one of the greatest of all time, was just stacked with Division I players. I mean, like guys that went to the next level and like impact guys. So the 80s, you had Kenny Clark was at Bryan. Central running backs, Leotis Flowers. 80s high school football in this town must have just been incredible.
Just a wee little chap who probably wasn't even going to high school football games until about 1990.
That's on your parents.
It is.
Yeah.
You missed out apparently. Some of these names.
All right, so let's play a little fill in the blank game here, because this dawned on me, and I'm sure I'm going to get some pushback on this, but you know what? You can't please everybody. Is fill in this blank concerning Nebraska football. No one does more for a team than blank. When was the last time concerning Nebraska football that you could fill in that blank? No one does more for a team than blank.
Amir Abdullah.
Okay. That's who I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So clears up some defaults, or covers up some defaults, I should say.
Yeah.
And also as a big-time college football player. What about as a coach, head or position? No one does more for a team than blank.
Ooh. For Nebraska.
Yes. Head coach, position coach, strength coach, life coach. Do they have those?
They probably do by now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's a big building.
I just
Go to a life coach and they say, your life isn't very good. I'm like, you're not doing your job.
All right, next.
You need to figure out a way
Yeah.
how my life gets. That's a good question.
Okay, so this is where I'm going. We have some fun with this because they haven't beaten Nebraska in men's basketball or football in a long time. But it is amazing that Iowa, without a really functional offense year to year, has won 70% of the games.
Yeah, Phil Parker without question.
Phil Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Tony White Nebraska's Phil Parker?
I hope
Tony
so.
White, yeah.
I really hope so.
So I know it's early, and I
I wanted to go there, but it's early.
You don't like premature, just enjoyment. You'd like it to be long lasting. But is he Nebraska's Phil Parker? Because no one does more than what they have done on offense. Because let's be honest, Nebraska is never, I mean never, going to get a 6-game stretch like they are in the middle of right now, where you're going to be favored in 5 of the 6 games.
Yep.
Started with Northern Illinois, went to Louisiana Tech, went to Michigan. It's going to go Northwestern or Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue. Nebraska will never get a 6-game stretch like that again, where, Jesus, if you're not 5-1, you're like, rule, come to my office. Okay? And you're going to be favored in 5 or 4 of the 6 games because you weren't favored at Illinois, even though it was could have made a case that Nebraska and Illinois should have been a pick-up.
As Lee said,
okay.
Wrong team favored.
Yes, he'll join us tomorrow. But so every time Iowa plays football, like this weekend against the Dairy Raid, which I've already, do not steal that. I love that.
Trademarked it.
Yes.
Love that. So good.
T-shirts.
That has the makings of a 10-3 game with bad weather.
Yes.
Okay. And both teams would be happy. They're like, oh, that's a good game. But Iowa, with all their offensive problems, they go, we got a shot because we got Phil Parker, and he'll do something with that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives you hope. That's all we want is hope. We want a little bit of hope. That's what I think Tony White can become.
Don't say Tony White does that.
Yeah, that defense gives you hope that
They'll be in the game.
They're not gonna fall apart against Northwestern. They're not gonna fall apart against Purdue. They're gonna get tested against Maryland. They're gonna get tested against Wisconsin because Braylon Allen will be the best, and that's over Corum. He'll be the best running back that Nebraska faces. But Nebraska's gonna have a stretch here where they're gonna see Tyrone Tracy Jr. is a good running back for Purdue. They're gonna see Braylon Allen middle of November in Madison, and then Caleb Johnson, if healthy. I like Caleb Johnson at Iowa, but he gives you hope that now in every game the rest of the year, you at least have a chance because you trust him that he's going to dial something up and he's going to have his guys ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Nebraska's got possibly their Phil Parker. Now, you'd like to keep him as long as Iowa has been able to retain Phil Parker. But, man, Nebraska finally found a guy that no one does more for a team than Tony White.
I think it was the obvious choice, but there's a little bit of that hesitancy just because of how early it's been. But I mean, definitely trending in that direction. And that's where I as much as it's kind of easy to look at Iowa's offense and, make fun of it, poke holes into it. I mean, they do a good job of allowing you to do so. Aren't we all envious of what they have on that defensive side? From coach all the way down and to development year after year after year, and the amount of guys that they're putting into the league year after year after year on that side of the football. I mean, it's a machine. It is a well-oiled machine of what Phil Parker has doing between the early stages of identifying talent to getting those guys engaged with that defense, developed them, and they're all guys that function at a high level. I mean, which was interesting, even their sack numbers were kind of down, but you wouldn't know with their overall production of how they still function as a defensive unit. So when you have that and you can interchange big pieces of guys that you might either lose to graduation or lose to pro football, that you have other guys that have been developed and they are ready to go and they're ready to fill in that spot, and they're going to be the next Cooper DeJean. They're going to be, the next Jack Campbell. You got all of those guys that fit a strong role because it's a system that has been perfected by the head guy. And they understand that no matter what the offense is doing, that is going to keep you in every college football game. At least it's going to give you a puncher's chance. Now, there's been examples of it where you've just been completely outmatched. I mean, their time against Michigan 2 years ago in the Big Ten championship game, obviously that didn't go well. But
it's Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, that too. Yes, in the Rose Bowl. But I also think of, and you mentioned Tony White, and you're always, like I'm sure Iowa fans are, you're always excited in a big game of, especially when their quarterback is a big part of what they do, that what does our guy have cooked up for this particular quarterback? What can he throw at him that maybe he isn't ready for or isn't used to seeing? And I don't want to overlook Nebraska's next three opponents, but you brought up Maryland. And that is a game that I'm also really interested in seeing, especially what Nebraska will look like health-wise. Do you have Luke Reimer back by then? And are you a little more, heck, do you have Deshaun Singleton back? I mean, are you at full strength? But what can you do against Italia Tagovailoa? Can you get him uncomfortable? Can you get him into making mistakes to where all of a sudden, again, the defense at home is giving your offense at least a chance? Because that's all you can ask for out of a defense, and you're a defensive team. Iowa clearly is. Matt Rule has labeled this team a defensive team, and to this point, I think we'd all agree. So I do look at some of those unique matchups, not necessarily between Nebraska's defense and their front seven or how will their secondary play, but DC versus that quarterback.
They've done something here. And again, you can only play the schedule that's in front of you. And so it's not like, they're playing, the reincarnation of Mike Leach's offense every week. So just the schedule in front of you. Now, what they have done is they have tied the hand behind the back. Nebraska has college football this year. They have faced 236 passes this year. Colorado's faced 237. Vanderbilt and Middle Tennessee with one more game, 243, 249. So they're facing about 40 passes a game. Why? Because teams can't run on Nebraska. Here's another stat. Nebraska's only given up on the ground through 6 games, 11 runs that are 10 yards or more. They used to do that sometimes in a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, I stole this stat from somebody, and I would love to give them credit, but I forgot where I got it from. So this isn't me. But they were just throwing this out there. I'm not going to – this defense is not 2009. But that's kind of how we hold the standard now.
Yeah.
And Nebraska with defense is 09. The 09 defense in terms of run defense, they had a pretty good player that wore 93. Not bad. Went on to a nice financial career. 2.8 yards per carry, 93.1 yards per game. That's what the 09 rush defense gave up. Nebraska right now through 6 games on the ground has given up 2.7 yards per carry, 75.8 yards per game. If you want to compare, you can, but considering what it has been in the past here, them are pretty damn good numbers.
Yeah.
So does Nebraska have their quote-unquote Phil Parker? Yes. Gives you a chance, gives you hope, and also gives you hope because you'll never have a 6-game stretch like this ever again where you're a 500 team but is favored in 4 of the 6, and only one of those games is on the road. And a perfect chance to go 5-1.
And Lego Maniac Zach says Nebraska needs to bump Tony White's salary up to at least $1.5 million after this season.
Well, there'll be people that will say he needs to be paid more than Satterfield. I mean, Satterfield's paid pretty well.
Yeah, he is. 1.4.
Satterfield doesn't live on Yankee Hill. Okay, he's got a salary that you could live on Firethorn. Now, I say that because I'm a little upset. I used to like Yankee Hill.
I've never been to Yankee Hill.
Well, you're not going to have a chance to play golf there anymore.
No, Dunzo.
Housing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we'll do this differently. So you can either have a house that, you get a salary in Lincoln that either gets you a house on Jim Egger, the little kid par 9.
I don't even know of it.
Oh, it's great.
Is it?
Yeah, that's where I played a lot of golf because I used to live at 41st and Normal, and I just walk over there and play golf.
It's Jim Egger?
It's a little par 3 9 hole.
Like a Warren Swigert.
No, it's right there by the road. It's great. It's fantastic. I was great.
Good for
I loved
beginners.
it. Well, if you just want to, I go to
Asking for
Yeah, well, I go to Warren Swigert.
Warren Swigert.
I like playing at Warren Swigert.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not necessarily pulling out the old driver at Warren Swigert.
No, you
but
only need to bring 3
I work
clubs.
on my game there. So it's just,
You bring 3 clubs.
I'm not ashamed to say I go and play some par threes.
It's a good way to work on the irons.
So you could either have a salary in Lincoln where you're living in the Jim Egger neighborhood, or you're living at Wilderness Ridge. Satterfield's got a salary that gives him Wilderness Ridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Does White need a salary to match that? Here's the thing. I'm probably in the minority here, which is hard to believe if you look at me. But here's the case. I don't think Tony White has got like he's looking to move on. I think Tony White has a job here, a mission, and he likes Matt Rule.
Yeah.
That goes a long way. He's going to get his opportunity to be a head coach. There is no doubt, and he deserves to be paid. And they'll take care of him. But I want them to take care of the defensive guys because I think that's the most important thing as well, is continuity for another year on the defensive side of the ball when you've got young guys to work with that have made a big jump, and the whole world gets a lot more difficult in 2024.
Yeah. Between Evan Cooper, Terrence Knight, and even Rob Dvorak, who I think maybe doesn't always get brought up right away, but that staff as a whole.
These guys play well.
Yeah. And that's the continuity is a big part of it. There's no question. It's a big part of what this defense could do going forward with the young guys and developing. And you hope that those relationships that they've established with those players. And I would agree. I think Nebraska's athletic department identifying when they have a good thing that you are incentivizing that to keep those guys on, because you know what the future can look like on that side of the football. I don't know it well enough to say, well, I don't know if Tony White is going to be necessarily sticking with Nebraska for the next couple of years as his stock continues to rise. But I would agree with what you're saying as far as his connection with Matt Rule, because a lot of times when he has a chance to speak, he brings up sort of an appreciation. There's like an appreciation tone of how Matt Rule maybe ran this practice, or how Matt Rule sort of commands the room, or how Matt Rule does this or that aspect of the head coaching. And he just naturally seems to be appreciative of that. And so I do hope that is for a guy that was not a Matt Rule guy, that did not have a previous relationship with him, at least directly, that has now become a very solid foundation between those two, where you want to be around to see where this thing goes in the next few years. That would be my hope. I think I think it's a legitimate concern that everybody has. I get it, that when you see a rising star leading your defense and you see what the defense is doing in year one with guys that for the most part you inherited, and then the only guys that you didn't inherit, they're true freshmen, that you're still having the production and the performances that you're seeing consistently. And I even thought a big part of Tony White, the whole, still learning from him and still seeing what he's about after the Michigan game. Remember how he spoke after the Michigan game? He was pissed. Like, we know Matt Rule was a little bit more animated than normal, but Tony White was pissed, using unacceptable a lot. I mean, taking a lot of ownership. And I think the big question was, how is this defense going to respond against a team that they should be able to feed off of? And they did. You get down to the goal line in that very first drive, not one, but two stops inside the 1 yard line to really set that game up. I mean, from that point on, that defense just fed and fed and fed and fed. And so the response on their really one major 4-quarter hiccup was a really good one. So there's just everything about learning Tony White as the defensive coordinator for Nebraska has been a large success, and you want to hold on to it. I get it. And I hope that relationship with Matt Rule is something that Tony White wants to be around for at least the next 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Nebraska has an offensive coordinator that is tied for 5th in the highest paid offensive coordinators in college football. Ryan Grubb at Washington makes $2 million. Jeff Lebby at Oklahoma, 1.9. Garrett Riley at Clemson, 1.75. Liam Cohen at Kentucky, 1.7. Kirk Sriracha at Rutgers, 1.4. You live in Soprano's house. Denbrock at LSU, 1.4. Satterfield is 1.4. Defensive side of the ball, Jim Knowles is the highest paid defensive coordinator at Ohio State at 1.9. Kevin Steele, Kevin Steele ever decides to retire, he's going to have a lot of cash.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Buffett will be having a discussion about how much money they have. So Glenn Schumann at Georgia.
What was Steele at?
It's Steele and Schumann and Knowles and House at LSU are all at 1.9.
Okay, well,
Matt House should give some money back. They got an 82-year-old guy out of the old people's home to come and coordinate that defense with him. He should donate some money. Texas DC makes 1.7. Tosh at Oregon makes 1.7. Tony White makes $1 million. It's 20th in the country in terms of defensive coordinator. So if you said, hey, we got a top 5 salary for offensive coordinator, I need a top 5 salary for defensive coordinator, he would take about a $700,000 bump to get to that point.
And worth every penny.
Yep. All right, let's get Mike here before we get Steve Sipple in the next segment. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Good. Hey, I agree with everything you say on the Iowa coaches. Phil Parker, he makes a difference, and I hate Iowa. But whenever I talk to all my Iowa friends over here, and they talk about coaches, the one that they don't ever want to leave isn't Parker; it's LeVar Woods.
Yep, he should be the next head coach at Iowa.
Yeah, they don't say much about Parker. Yeah, he's good, but they don't want LeVar Woods to leave.
So what does that say, Mike? Coaching matters, right? Because he's the special team. He's in charge of all the special teams.
Yeah, like I say, I hate Iowa with a passion, but they do simple better than anybody, and they're just good at simple.
Yep.
And anyway, Satterley, he needs to give White some money. Satterley needs to put chuck some money over to White, I think.
Okay, so why are you upset at Satterfield? I'm not making a statement, but I'm just asking because you're not alone. But why are you upset at him?
No, I just think that I don't know. Well,
first
off, we don't have any skill positions, so that's not his fault. I mean, who do we have that anybody's really afraid of on our skill positions? We need some speed, so that's not his fault. But I guess I can't answer that, Gary. I don't know. The defense is so much farther ahead than the offense.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Hey, Mike. So I'm hearing that as well. It's like, wow, the defense is like there's such a gap between the two. How come the offense can't be better? Or the offense cost us a game that would have got us 4-2.
What scares me, Gary, is our offensive line. Is it better? I mean, and our skill positions. Seriously, who is anybody afraid of?
Yeah, and Mike, thanks for the phone call. It's going to be an interesting conversation the rest of the year on. We already know Tony White. Okay, you can see that. The Marcus Satterfield conversation is a little bit of a back and forth because is it him?
Right.
Is it, well, look, the hand he's been dealt. I guess he gets a pass on 23.
Yeah, it's like,
but the further the gap grows, and
yes,
Nebraska loses a game where the defense only gives up 14, and you lose 14-10.
Yep. You start to resent a little bit. That's just normal. And I remember thinking about that last year with Iowa, as we're talking about Iowa. At what point is that defense, and even Phil Parker, like, Brian, come on, this is getting ridiculous here. And I feel like the way we feel about Marcus Satterfield is kind of the way fans feel about just this season in general. You're sort of conflicted because you can look at both sides of it and say, well, I want to be upset here, but man, what does he really have? Then there's the injuries. There's all this stuff. Like, is this really the type of offense that they're going to be going forward? But then you have, okay, but they identified the quarterback. Okay, it didn't work out, but that's who they identified. So that is on your, that's on your tab. So, I mean, there's a lot of back and forth where I think it's kind of how we feel about this team in general is just sort of conflicted. There's areas that you're like, okay. And there's other areas like, I don't know. This isn't great. I got to see more out of it. So I don't think for people who think that if you get into the Satterfield discussion, you look at just the offense alone and you don't cut through the actual context, it's easy to be like, well, underperforming. And then it's easy to look at the $1.4 million and say, okay, top 5 offensive coordinator salary, you're not living up to that. But again, then you look at the context and be like, okay, how much of that is his doing? As opposed to an overachieving defense with a defensive coordinator that you want to see stick around, and you're thinking, okay, pay that man his money. Yeah. So it's there's your conflict right there.
It becomes second half of the season has to be this. You got to call plays for what the quarterback is comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying that end of the first half against Illinois. Look at who wanted to call something and what was called or what was changed or whatever happened. And then they also have to. There's another part that is on the Satterfield dime is they treat timeouts like they're bingo cards. All right, Steve Sipple is coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Do we have to get the elbows out and make a little room at the top of the NFC food chain for Detroit?
When we went through that exercise about what would make a successful season for every franchise, the thing I said about the Lions was hosting a playoff game. It's hard not to think that A, they are the favorite in that division, which means, John, then B, they will probably be a 3 seed at worst.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
We're going to start the day off with a chance of a thunderstorm or two rolling through. Throughout the middle parts of the day will be fairly dry, mostly cloudy, and then into the evening hours, a chance of more severe storms rolling through the area, hitting a high of around 71 degrees. We'll be partly cloudy overnight with a chance of a small shower rolling through before we start a very windy Friday and Saturday. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 108th to 84th along L Street. Then on Dodge, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 75th. And along Center, be prepared for a bit of a delay from 192nd to 180th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Not your typical restaurant, not your typical place. Romeo's, not your typical restaurant, for your not your typical taste. Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza. Not your typical restaurant.
Email Unsportsmanlike Conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
Brian recently had us tow his all-wheel drive Mercedes from another shop. He was told it needed a new transmission for over $4,000. As it turned out, the reason he had no Ford was because his front CV axle was bad. We replaced the axle for a few $100 and he was back on the road.
Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Creighton Sports Update. The annual Creighton Volleyball Pink Out is this Friday. Join the Blue Jays at DJ Sokol Arena at 6, dressed in your best pink as the Georgetown Hoyas are in town for Big East play. Then, on Sunday, bring your costumes for a Creighton Volleyball Blue Jay Bash with pre-match trick-or-treating in the concourse before 1 p.m. First serve versus Villanova. Purchase your tickets to both matches today at gocreighton.com/buy.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the 4-day super sale, October 13th through the 16th, and get 40% off paints and stains with prices starting at $26.69. That means 40% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, get 40% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Fear has a name. For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods. Scary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions. 177 dials. 100 rating game, stereo mess, and IV.
Require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if Restrictions apply. See website for details. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
This is a good upbeat song.
It's from Role Models.
For an upbeat guest.
Yeah.
Steve Sipple from 93.7 The Ticket.
He's a role model.
And on3.com joins us now. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. What are you doing right now?
Well, I was just about to take Bullet for a walk.
Okay. That's that. You know what? That
How's
is
Bullet
something
doing?
special in your life that you and Bullet can go for a walk about this time every day.
Every day, every single day. And we're doing about 2 or 3 walks a day now. So yeah, that's about right after I get off the air here. We'll go for a nice little walk.
Who benefits more from the walk, Bullet or Steve?
Bullet's in really good shape. So I'll probably Bullet.
Fair.
One of the best questions ever
Hey,
asked.
so let me ask you another question, and more probably in your wheelhouse. So everybody is doing like their mid-season report card, and it's not just offense, defense, special teams, but they're throwing in coaches as well. So we know that Tony White is going to get glowing remarks. Is it difficult to grade Marcus Satterfield through 6 games?
Really difficult. And it's only now it's sort of, well, it's not impossible, but you really have to work to be fair now. You got to, I almost throw out the evaluation at this point.
He gets an extension.
Yeah, I just don't, I really don't, I don't know how you could do a fair evaluation of Satterfield. Now, there'll be times where they'll be in situations where you're going to need the right play, what we judge to be the right play. But the personnel losses are extreme, and it really, all you got to do is close your eyes. This is really frustrating exercise, I understand. But you close your eyes and think about if they had Xavier Betts and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda and Alante Brown and Eric Gilbert and Ramir Johnson and Gabe Irvin. Think about it. That's not, it's not too bad. But, with all those guys, you're not too bad. With an offensive line, it's a little better. And then, I didn't even mention Jeff Sims.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have left out somebody else, but man, that's really frustrating to me when I think, look what that. And now it wasn't going to be a great offense, but it wasn't going to be one where you wonder how they're going to score, 14 points a game right now.
If you kind of look at Marcus Satterfield right now, and it is, I think it's very complicated. That's how I would rule the evaluation too. But when you look at the things that maybe Marcus Satterfield has done okay, and do we not discuss that enough? Are there things that you look at Marcus Satterfield like, okay, I can see that. Like at times, maybe some play calling. You could see, the scheme might be there. There's poor execution. Like, do we see enough positives to where it's like, okay, let's have this conversation maybe next year?
Oh yeah, they've won 3 of 4. I'd start with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's brought Harberg along pretty well. I mean, obviously Harberg is rough. He's rough around the edges in the passing game, but they've incorporated the quarterback run game very well. And it wasn't even something that was part of Satterfield's repertoire.
Yeah.
So he had to adjust with, and he's talked about like Ron Brown and Ron Brown's impact and helping him with that, with the speed option, with the option game. So I'd say that's a pretty good adaptation by Satterfield, adapting to his personnel, and that's coaching. I mean, that's what coaching is really. A lot of it is just making it work with who you have. And that's what he's going to have to continue to do. It's just, man, I mean, it's really it's sort of a dire situation at receiver.
Yeah.
Not quite as dire at running back, but pretty dire at running back. Those situations are dire. And that's without even mentioning the fact that they're playing with a first-year starter at quarterback who's sort of feeling his way along. Pretty good job of it.
So with that said, and I know you like this guy, and I have a love-hate relationship with Tommy Hill because, I don't know, sometimes when he touches the ball, there's something bad's going to happen. But he's versatile enough. Sip, is he more valuable right now to Nebraska offensively or defensively?
Seems like defensively with Singleton out.
Is that the only reason? And I agree with you, but is that the only reason that just because they're missing Deshaun Singleton, he's the guy that could fill in?
I don't know. I wish this is where I'm really frustrated. I wish I would have asked Rule that on Tuesday. What happens with Tommy Hill? Because he could help you. They need help at receiver. I don't know. I don't. He's I'd say probably a little more valuable on defense. But the question I would have is now it's just full go. Are you going to play him offense and defense and special teams?
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it, but I don't know. Maybe there's some answers over there I just don't even know about. The receiver discussion obviously starts with those three freshmen. One of those three or two of those three has to really help now. It has to become sort of overnight reliable. Malachi Coleman, Jalen Lloyd, Jaden Doss. My guess is it will be Doss. He's the best of the three. The other kids are good. They're good. But I think Doss is, you'll start to see show up a lot more.
Okay, so stick with Doss.
Okay, Jaden Doss.
He's kind of, remember, we were all Malachi Coleman. Why do you think? And he had the broken arm, so he was out for a little bit. Now he's back and he's healthy. Why do you think Doss's stock all of a sudden has risen?
Well, it hasn't all of a sudden risen in my eye. I thought before he hurt his arm in August, he was coming. I mean, then he hurt his arm. He hurt his. I saw it. It was just one of those days, Gary, where the media happened to be on hand for that August practice, and I remember it vividly because I saw him go over to the trainer. I'm like, oh no, no, because he's coming. He's going to help. He's good. I mean, he's. And listen, some of this is I sit next to Bill Bush, who recruited him, and Bush's stance has been he could go in the SEC and play right now.
Wow.
So he can go in the Big Ten and play. He's got the body. He's thick. He's a tough kid. He's ready physically. The moment won't be too much for him, according to Bush. I think he's the guy that you'll see of those three be most prominent as far as where the ball is going. That doesn't mean the other guys won't. I like those other kids. Obviously, they've proven themselves. I mean, Malachi's on the field. Jalen Lloyd has been on the field. They're doing something right. So they got to keep doing it. I just hope, you always hope that there's a maturity level with a lot of these guys, not just those three freshmen, with the Ty Hahn, and then others that have been playing that say, look, guys, I mean, we got hit hard. We got to step up now. We don't have to have a drop off. We don't have to. I mean, I hope that's what they're thinking. But that's a lot for a freshman. I mean, people always ask me, why is it so hard? Well, because everything's new to them, not just at the football complex. Just everything in life is new to them. They're all on their own for the first time, and there's a lot of challenges that go along with all of it. Now you're playing in the Big Ten, so coaches, you're in the best coaching league in America. They know what to do against Malachi Coleman. He's facing grown men corners. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to that discussion, and I am not the type to say, hey, man, come on, you can go catch 30 passes. Why not? Well, because it's difficult. It's not impossible. So let's just see. But man, I just wish, going back to where we started, I just wish I could close my eyes and some of those guys would just be back, because then Nebraska's really in it. They're really in that West race.
Yeah. And Sip, and this kind of goes along with what you're saying there, and I know you don't dabble in the expectation game, but you had mentioned something after the Illinois game, which I think a lot of us probably felt. Maybe we didn't admit it because of how weird and clunky that second half was, especially the fourth quarter for Nebraska, but we're in no place to gripe over a win so much, especially going into a bye week. But having said that, you mentioned Doss. There are young guys that could really utilize this bye week too. This coaching staff could really dig into evaluations as well. What's kind of and then looking at the schedule ahead, especially Northwestern, but those next 3 games that Nebraska has on the other side of the bye week, what's kind of your expectation going into the second half of the season? Like, based on what you've seen and maybe what you feel with this coaching staff, what's your expectation as far as what this group will look like?
It's so hard. I mean, my expectation is that the defense I think can hold teams to an average of about 14 to 17, and that the offense will just have to scratch out points, try to get to 20, 21, 24, and then you can win. You can win games. I don't think it's going to be. I mean, I still say 7 would be the most, but I think they can. I do think they can get there. I see a path to 7. Maryland's tricky.
Yeah, they are.
Wisconsin's going to be tricky. Maryland's tricky because I watched the Ohio State game the other day, and Ohio State wasn't running on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hidden thing about Maryland is Ohio State in the second half was averaging a yard a carry against Maryland. That'll be a tough game. Wisconsin, they're not impenetrable, but they'll be tough at home. But the rest of them, I just think you can get. But you can't have letdowns now. I mean, if you're Nebraska with what they have on offense, if you have a letdown, you're in trouble. You can't come out like you did against Michigan. If you come out like you did against Michigan, against Northwestern, you might get beat. Now I know people take issue with that, but I don't. No, they weren't ready to play. If they come out not ready to play with where they're at offensively, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be greedy or anything, but it has been 2,477 days since Nebraska played in a bowl game. I'm guessing that you personally would be surprised if you're not going somewhere in December to cover Nebraska playing.
Yeah, it's all about the next 2 games to me.
Yeah, okay.
But if you win the next 2,
Fair.
you're pretty set up. You just got to squeeze one more out. And I really like their chances against Iowa. I really like that. It could be a scenario where you go into the final home game against Iowa and your defense, it's on. Now, you might hold Iowa to 7-6. You can get a win there. They're hurting offensively, and your defense is pretty good. I'd like Nebraska's chances in that scenario. But it's all about these next 2 games. Home games that are, very controllable. I mean, I'm not saying Nebraska should win. I don't like to do that with this team. They're just too beat up. But they got a great chance. These are great opportunities on your home field. Man, if they can get 2 here, then, yeah, I would think then you're in pretty good shape. And you always got to leave open the possibility of an upset at Wisconsin. I hate to call Maryland on your home field an upset, but it would almost feel like that to me. So, yeah, you'd be in great shape. It's about these 2 games. I'm really jacked up. I'm really excited for Northwestern. I really am. It's a huge game. I hope they feel like that. I hope those kids feel like that. It's a colossal game for the program. I mean, it sounds weird, but it is.
No, you're right. Sip, I'm trying to maybe look at the glass half full on this one, in the finish that the offense had, but Heinrich Harberg had against Illinois. Is there? Can you look at what he's done as a starter and everything that he's now consumed in his time on the field, that they continue to try to bring him along? That moment, in those moments there in the fourth quarter, could that actually turn out to be a good thing for him? And maybe what I'm getting at is, it also, again, this goes back to Marcus Satterfield and how they want to play the quarterback strengths. Can all of this data that they've had a chance now to see with Heinrich Harberg, the good and the bad and the indifferent, I mean, is all of that could work out well for Heinrich going forward?
Oh yeah. I mean, I would think his progress will come in fairly large increments, just because he's in his first year. Now, which moments in particular are you thinking about, Nick?
Well, you had the interception there that maybe wasn't completely on him, but you also had some of just the ball security overall, which he'd been very good at. He's been a little bit, I guess, lucky. The ball has bounced more his way than it's bounced against him. So again, ball security issues and just overall throwing the football, having a little bit of that adversity where the ball wasn't bouncing his way as much as it has before. That, I guess, those moments is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I definitely think it can help him. Part of it, I think what Heinrich's got to sort of realize, and maybe it's unspoken on the part of the coaches that you don't have to tell him, but they have to lean on him pretty hard now. He's this dude. I mean, he's your best runner. Okay, he's your best runner. All right, just keep it at that. But he's still got to execute the passing game and try to get something going downfield with a group of receivers that I don't like to disparage them. They're just not, we're just not talking about, we're just talking about a group that's pretty limited.
Yeah.
That's the nicest way I can say it. So the stat is kind of interesting because we started the conversation with, Satterfield, you can't evaluate him in a harsh manner now. You just can't do it. It's not fair. Now, the question, the natural extension of that conversation is the quarterback.
Yep.
How can you evaluate Heinrich Harberg in any kind of really fair fashion going forward, given what's around it? We do this with the Nebraska quarterback a lot over the years, particularly in the last 4. And Heinrich's, look, I mean, he's got to carry a pretty heavy load now. That's it. That's the bottom line. He's your best runner. He's going to take a lot of hits. He's already taken a lot of hits. You hear the coaches allude to the fact he's a little beat up. He gets tired.
Yes.
So he's got to fight his way through a lot of physical fatigue, and there's gonna be mental fatigue. Because the mental fatigue part is real. I think we saw it with age. There's just, if you're gonna win, like if you're gonna go to Wisconsin and win, I used to say about Adrian, if you're gonna go win a game like that against a tough Wisconsin team in years past, it hit me one day that Adrian's probably gonna have to run for 100 and throw for 250.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous if you think about it. And now with Harberg, it's not like that exactly, but he has to perform at a high level if they're going to get where they want to go. He has to.
Yeah. It's
not like he has Derrick Henry behind him. Okay, well, Henry could get you 170. That takes a lot of pressure off. No, you don't really have anything like that.
No, you don't. You do not. That's a good point. Sip, as always, I appreciate it. Enjoy the bye weekend. What are you doing? You got big plans? We're going to hang at the house? We going out? What are we doing?
Now, Saturday I got to write a little bit of the day for sure because I write a Sunday column. And hopefully I'll be done in time to watch. I'll be done because I'm just going to treat the deadline like 3 o'clock p.m. because I really want to watch Iowa, Wisconsin. It's a gigantic game. It's gigantic.
Yes, it is. It could be 10-3 and everybody be happy with that game.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. I'm really looking forward to it. I think Wisconsin can essentially take control of the West.
Oh, yes.
Stable.
Yes. Yep. Hey, Sip, thank you.
All right. Take care.
Stephen M. Sipple. So back to Doss real quick here. And he brought up Bill Bush. Jaden Doss is a very interesting recruitment out of Kansas City. And this isn't that guy's a bum on the staff, whatever. This is fighting for a guy you believe in and also a good eye for talent. So Nebraska's recruiting Doss out of Kansas City, and it's Bill Bush's guy. And Bill Bush's big thing was, guys, and he was telling this to everybody on the staff as they were going through when they would do their recruiting portion of the day. We got to get a guy from Kansas City. Man, we are in on some guys, but we got to pull the trigger and we've got to reel in a Kansas City kid. So they looked at his film. Not everybody on that staff agreed that Doss should have been given a scholarship.
Really?
Yep. There were guys that were like, no. Bill Bush went to bat for that kid, like heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And if he turns out, I mean, it just, and Bill Bush has a good eye for talent.
Yeah.
But he had a fight because I think the head guy, and it was Frost at the time, was a little mixed. He was listening to two people talk. I've seen enough guys. Bill Bush is going, this guy could play in the SEC, and one guy that's got SEC experience is like, nah, come on, bro.
Yeah.
And Frost was like, well, and Bush was like, no, we got to get a guy from Kansas City, and this is the guy. And if he's the guy in the second half ahead of Malachi Coleman, I beg your pardon, wow, feather in the cap of Bill Bush on evaluation of talent.
Yeah. I know that, again, like small things as a freshman, and I remember Severe mentioning this when he came back from injury, and he was just kind of working out.
Severe did?
Severe, yeah, I mentioned this. Michael did.
Oh, from his injury or somebody else's?
That's what I thought. from Jaden Doss's injury. I hope Michael's healthy and well. It mentioned like his route running, like it was something that like really stood out when he was working amongst the group. It would have been before I think the La Tech game. Obviously didn't suit up, but he was out there running routes. And again, like those are the things that I'm when you're a freshman, if you look at those little things like that, whether it's, concept of the playbook, are you reliable, but also just, smooth route running. And I think of quarterbacks that are going to rely heavily on that. They're going to need that part of it because, when you're not a strong passer, you got a strong arm, but you have guys that are in position where they need to be, that timing of it. Like that's where I'm curious where the other guy like Malachi is, where Jalen Lloyd is, just in some of those small, like developmental steps of a freshman that are probably good, especially now, are going to be the difference between getting you on the field and maybe not as much because of where this wide receiving core is. Because I mean, we know they can't be picky right now, but what is kind of separating maybe a Jaden Doss or what would be separating a Malachi Coleman or even a Jalen Lloyd? Because those are the like kind of those little things. I don't know. It was something that kind of stood out in Michael's evaluation where he said that to him, when he was watching guys run around and all the receivers at the time too. It wasn't just some of the guys that weren't going to be playing. Like he said, out of all of them, he looked like he was running some of the smoothest routes too. So again, little things like that with these guys now separating themselves on, I would assume all three of them, you're still going to see at what capacity between Doss, Coleman, and Jalen Lloyd are you going to see them going forward?
All right, quick break. We'll come back. Next hour, Brian Edwards will stop by the show. We'll catch us with some tweets and some emails. And also we'll replay something we played in the first hour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What?
Better?
Are we okay over there?
Oh, I'm excited.
You were stretching. I didn't know if that was the stretch or what we were going to play.
I was stretching, but as soon as you said that, that got me yeah. Fires you up.
I think you pulled something.
Well,
I think we're going to have to do some work on you.
I got some hammy issues right now.
Okay.
There's a pill for that.
Is there?
I don't know.
Not that hammy.
You into
not that like
Jimmy, you into drugs you can't pronounce or spell?
Let's see.
Break time,
Spell
boys.
You should say there's a chew for that.
A chew?
Yeah, everything's now a chewable. Never mind.
I'll listen during the commercials.
Yeah, okay.
We play lots of them.
Exactly.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's 4-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So, add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line. Price max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required. Other restrictions apply.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cobb's at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery.
Are you ready for your best year of health yet?
Join Nebraska Medicine for Break for Breakfast, a free drive-through event that could make a life-saving difference.
On Friday morning, October 13th, drive through one of 3 locations between 6:30 and 8:30 for a free breakfast and crucial cancer screening information.
Did you know that early detection is key when it comes to fighting cancer?
That's right. And at Break for Breakfast, you'll get information about different types of cancer screenings without leaving your car.
And don't forget, a free and delicious breakfast.
Mark your calendar for October 13th from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and head over to one of these locations: Omaha Home for Boys off 52nd and Ames Street, Shadow Lake Town Center off 72nd Street and Highway 370, or Village Point Health Center just south of Dodge near 175th and Burke Streets.
Visit nebraskamed.com/breakfast for all the drive-through event details. That's nebraskamed.com/breakfast.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
So, hey, new thing with the playoff baseball is you get the crowd reaction, and the crowds have been great. They've been electric. Philadelphia would be an uncomfortable place to play as a visitor. They're going to make it tough on Spencer Strider today to try and close out that series. But you're getting a lot of the Nat sounds of home runs. Like they just released the Bryce Harper home runs that are just Nat sound. There's another home run that was hit, and don't lie to me, boys. We do this every time that Nick Castellanos hits a home run. We think about it.
Yep.
Every time he hits a home run, you think about it.
I hear his voice.
And especially last night, where they were talking about a somber moment and who hits a home run.
We all have our thing. We all play our roles, and that's Nick Castellanos.
I'm lost in this. What are you guys talking about?
Tom Brenneman.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah.
Soon as he
and
hit it,
I'd
I
like
heard
to
his voice.
apologize. And Castellanos hits a home run today. Yeah, that was one of the.
Every time that he hits a home run, I think about it.
Gary and Nick will take you home the rest of the way.
That was just so awkward.
When we come back,
gosh.
we're going to swear on the air, and we're going to get you fully hussed. I mean, what else do you want from a radio show in the mornings in Omaha, Nebraska?
We personally won't.
We'll do that next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 108th to 84th along L Street. Then on Dodge, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 75th. And along Center, be prepared for a bit of a delay from 192nd to 180th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call 402-810-0789 or visit IBEW22.org today.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more DaVinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
John Party. That's why they call me Mr. Saturday.
Mr. Saturday Night World Tour. Friday, October 20th, Baxter Arena with special guests Midland, Ella Langley, and DJ Hymax.
Got a little dirt on my boots when I'm taking you uptown.
John Party. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss John Party Live.
Online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620, The Zone.
Have a good day at work, everybody.
So that's Matt Rule. That was something that was released last night by the media department around Nebraska football. GB Rewind, episode 1 and 2. That's his speech before they opened up the garage door for the first tunnel walk ever in the Matt Rule era at Memorial Stadium. It's before the Northern Illinois game. There's a lot in there. I got some follow-up questions for the head coach. Swearing aside, we apologize for that. That was him, not us.
Yep.
If you got a complaint, call 402-551. I used to remember the number. But it's he is I think he likes being mic'd up. We have more access to coaches. I watched the Big East digital network or Big East network, whatever, had Mac mic'd up at practice the other day, and that was pretty good insight. We get more access, and this is we saw it during camp. Now with these 2 episodes, we get a lot of access, so we get a little insight, and I think that's Rule's wheelhouse is like those kind of speeches. We saw that during fall camp.
And this is him.
That was pretty good. That was right before they went out and beat Northern Illinois. So I would love to see video of how he explained to guys that they were in full pads after Michigan.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I would have liked to see that. But it's really, really good.
Maybe we will.
It's well worth the watch as they pull back the curtain and they let you know what's going on. And if you have chills throughout your body, hello, Taylor. All right, 9:15. We had a discussion earlier about Omaha Westside football in 2023. the 1982 team was really good. So we got a lot of people chiming in. The 1985 Omaha Creighton prep team under Coach Jaworski was essentially a small college football team playing in high school with multiple big-time Division I prospects. We had Jimmy had a coach. This might be your influence, Nick, from Millard North.
03.
It was not Fred, because I don't think Fred would pick up the phone and call this show.
No, Fred doesn't need to. He doesn't need to lobby for any success.
It's like like if you ask Fred, choose your favorite kids and choose your favorite team.
All right.
But we had a caller that said the 2012 Millard North team.
Okay.
That they beat Omaha North in the final that year, I think.
He had a couple of them, but that's the one he's singling out.
So there's been some great in Fred's 4 decades Millard North teams, and there have been incredible quarterbacks, including a Heisman Trophy quarterback. This is always the time where I go to bat for Isaac Ockrey. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks they've ever had at Millard North. It kind of gets lost a little bit, but how come if I had to pick a Millard North team? And it kind of is a little bit, ironically, 2005, you know what Millard North baseball was like.
Mm-hmm.
How come people don't bring up the 2005 Millard North football team? They have to be one of the rare, and I mean rare, high school Class A football programs that had 3 1,000-yard rushers. So Jeff Tarpinian, who went to play football at Iowa, a defensive back, was a quarterback. Corey Young, who got thrown out of a playoff game for retaliating. They were playing Papillion, and he retaliated. He might have been a 2,000-yard guy in the backfield. And then Paul Homer at fullback was at 1,200 yards.
Went to Washington.
Yeah. Tarpinian ran for over 2,000 yards that year.
Yeah.
I don't hear a lot of people talking about the 2005 team, because as a team, they were at 460 yards per game rushing.
Yeah.
Oh. So that would be my choice. The 2012 team was good, but I think the 2005 Millard North team was pretty good. It might be the best.
Yeah, see, I would still just, from the dominating fashion, I'd still say the 03 team. But it's kind of interesting. The quarterback was a baseball player. Quarterback was Robbie Knight, played baseball at Creighton. So in the long list of very good quarterbacks, Todd Doxson, Eric Crouch, I would throw, John McCardle ran the option very well. They came up just short against Lincoln Southeast, and you just came up short. Jeff Tarpinian, definitely one of those guys too. I'm trying to, and during that time, some of the guys in between, but Robbie Knight was not. He was extremely fast, but he was slight compared to a lot of those guys. And, when I go back to Eric Crouch, who came up the same year, in fact, in Pop Warner, we played for the Panthers before high school. I was his backup. Wasn't going to play.
So you're John Moxon.
Yeah. Oh, I was, but I wasn't. If Crouch went down, if Crouch went down, I don't think our coach was like, all right, Handley, you're in. I think they probably would have tried to figure out a different offense. But
let's just forfeit.
But Crouch, and this will make a lot of my buddies from Millard South happy, and ones that I know listen to the show. Millard North could not beat Millard South. Millard North was so good when Crouch was the quarterback there. Yeah, Judd Davies, Eric Hammer. There's so many good players. Tyler Cotton. They were intimidated, and I played them on the other side at Millard West, and we didn't stand a chance. But every time it came down to playing Millard South, who, from a talent standpoint, as far as guys going to college and playing like legitimate D1 football, they didn't match up to Millard North. But that was where, and it's kind of funny, we've been talking about Tony White. That was where they schemed so well against Crouch that he would have the most humbling games. And it was nasty. I would hear about, even some of the guys that I know would say when they get in the pile, and we all played football together growing up, because Crouch was actually in the Millard South area. So he could have been a Millard South guy. Everybody liked him. Everybody respected Eric. But when those games took place, the amount of dirty shots, eyeball poking, trying to twist his ankle, because he had kind of a bum ankle. I can't remember if it was a playoff game or in the regular season game. He had kind of a bum ankle. So they were kind of pulling on it in piles and stuff. Just getting nasty with him.
That's not
nice. And that was, you would always think that the amount of accolades that Eric Crouch had at every level of football, that he would have had maybe a state title under his belt and probably one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play at Millard North, doesn't have a state title. And it was all because of Millard South. Now, Millard South won a title his junior year. They beat Papillion, and that was the last year that it was ever played at actual high school venues. The first year, Memorial Stadium. Papillion, Muma, Schlechter, they had a very good team. Papillion beat Millard South in the state finals. So it wasn't even Millard South was, back-to-back state champions either. Millard North just happened to play Millard South in the state semifinals and could never get past them.
Wow. I didn't know we'd be talking about Eric Crouch's kryptonite today.
That was we got into the Millard North.
That is pretty amazing, though.
We got into the Millard North football history, and I think a lot of people that maybe are newer, they know of Crouch and they know they played for Millard North, probably just assumed, oh yeah, I'm sure he won one. It was Millard South. He didn't win one, and it was because of Millard South. They just had his number,
and that's why. And that's why he didn't send his kids to Millard South. Instead, send him to Elkhorn South.
Yeah, the guy's smart. Keep him away from there.
It'll show him.
He walks over. He gets kind of near campus. He kind of twitches a little bit. No, we need to turn back around. Can't go there.
Doesn't go to games at Buell.
No. It brings up bad memories for a guy who's conquered a lot of opponents. Millard South.
Hey, so Rusty tweets in here. He goes, Josh Miller was a quarterback at Millard South. And the interesting thing was, as you mentioned, Crouch lived in the Millard South area, but went to North for the football program. And Josh Miller lived in the Millard North zone, but went to Millard South so he could start because of Crouch.
Yep. It's very, very true. Yep. Josh Miller, is a friend. In fact, my best friend, that's his cousin. Yeah. It was weird because I grew up down the street from Eric Crouch from 8 years old on. And we were like, all right. Now, there were a couple of us that benefited. Like, had I stayed at Millard South, I still would have been the backup. Dan Kennedy was a very good quarterback at Millard South. But, yeah, his presence and how it sort of altered, people's decision to play a position or to go to a school. Because he was that good. He was like, hell, in seventh grade when he was playing for the KWAA Dolphins, you're like, all right, there's something special about this dude. He's really good. And people who know Eric growing up, he's one of those guys that he didn't really get into basketball, but he was still probably one of the better players on the floor. He's just a naturally gifted. Whatever he did, he was going to be above average. Even in sports that he never even wanted to play. Like in baseball, we'd play home run derby. Who do you think had the most home runs? Eric Crouch. Because he's just it was almost annoying. It's like we're playing select baseball and stuff like that. Crouch just picks up a wiffle ball bat or aluminum bat. And he's just beating the ball out of the park. We're like
curling, and he'd be better.
Come on, man. He's throwing spirals at half court and sinking 5 out of 10. It's like, dude, you're not human. You're just not human.
John says you're spot on. We trashed Crouch any way we could, but liked him. He said, "Go Indians."
They were the Indians.
He was a graduate of Millard South when they were the Indians.
Yep, they were the Indians.
Yes, and now they are the South Boys.
With a Z.
Who have a huge game tomorrow night against Omaha
With a
West
Z.
Side.
Yep.
All right, 24 past the hour. Brian Edwards is going to join us before the hour is over. We'll get into a good question on the Equitable Bank inbox about Nebraska football and Heinrich Harberg, who I think I'm going to let you get it because I'm taking a break from the quarterbacks. I'll come back to the quarterbacks next week.
All right.
Okay, but this is a good question on what does Harburg's numbers look like in the second half of the season. I'll set it up. You answer it because I think it keeps me safe from. I'm going to try and go 3 straight days without talking about quarterbacks. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. Previously on the crossover.
Bacon is the most flavorful food in the whole world.
Bacon to a baby, and then give the baby a piece of sausage. The look on the child's face when they eat the bacon, mind blowing.
Can you trust a child for your food takes, and that's your problem? Yes, that's the problem. Yes, there you go. Hey, look at this baby. That baby knows.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, the Connor Happer Show on Sportsmanlike Conduct, 6A to 6P, 1620, The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
We're going to start the day off with a chance of a thunderstorm or two rolling through. Throughout the middle parts of the day will be fairly dry, mostly cloudy, and then into the evening hours, a chance of more severe storms rolling through the area, hitting a high of around 71 degrees. We'll be partly cloudy overnight with a chance of a small shower rolling through before we start a very windy Friday and Saturday. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's deal is from Scary Acres, voted the #1 best haunt in Omaha by Best of Omaha since 2019 and #1 best haunt in Omaha by the Omaha Choice Awards. This deal includes 2 super combo passes to get you into all 3 attractions for just $30. Scary Acres, 172nd and Giles, pay just $30 for 2 super combo passes this Friday at 9 a.m.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here with Dr. Lance Kugler of Kugler Vision. You know, it's been 5.5 years since I had my procedure done at Kugler Vision. I remember going in for the eye analysis and finding out, hey, there's something other than LASIK. That seems to be such a misnomer with so many people, but that's not always the case because there are actually 7 forms of modern vision correction.
Sure, yeah, and obviously LASIK is a huge part of what we do, but as technology improves over the years and over the decades, we continue to add different technologies that become better options for people depending on what they need.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found absolutely incredible was the eye analysis process. You want to know as much about anyone's eyes as you can because that's how you figure out which of those procedures are going to qualify for.
Yeah, our eye analysis process is the most thorough evaluation of your eye that you can possibly have. We all have the same goal. We want you to see as well as you possibly can.
Schedule an eye analysis today. You can visit their website, kuglervision.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. You're on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, up to 8 games at once. Or everywhere else you look with a audio and video system. Enjoy wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
I haven't heard this song in a while. Nicely done.
Yeah. Who's got the parachute pants?
All right, this comes into the Equitable Bank inbox. This is for both of you.
All right.
Actually, it says, "Hey Gary," but it should say, "Hey Nick and Jimmy." This is from Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
He said, concerning the discussion about Harburg, I'm going to give you 4 categories. You tell me in the second half of the season concerning Heinrich Harberg if these will go up, stay the same, or go down.
Okay.
He starts with carries per game at 14.
Up.
Okay. I mean, interceptions are going to go up. He says interceptions, he's only thrown 2 in the 5 games that he's played.
I think
so those are going to go up. But will they be more than, I'll throw this in, will there be more than 1 a game?
No.
Slightly.
For the remaining
when
6?
It averages
No.
out slightly.
Slightly up?
Yeah. He'll
I'll
have
say
one
no.
game where it just, one of those games, and it'll kind of skew the numbers a little.
And this also skewed if Jeff Sims plays a lot more.
True.
Will Heinrich Harburg be the leading rusher still after the next 6 games? So right now, Harburg has run for 352 yards. Grant is at 280.
I'm going to go Anthony Grant.
I'm still going to take Heinrich Harberg.
Yeah. He'll have a good second half.
And now here's the other one that is that elicits a conversation because this has to go up, but I don't know if it will. Harburg completion percentage right now at 52%.
I'm not convinced that goes up. Now, volume is going to be a big thing. He's at, 96 attempts right now?
Yes.
Maybe this is more of the hope of what Marcus Satterfield, Matt Rule, and Heinrich Harberg sit down, discuss how they want to go about putting this offense, and more importantly, Heinrich Harberg, in the best position to succeed, where volume will be at a minimum with passing. You're going to have to throw the ball. We know that. But now understand, and again, now I'm almost kind of talking myself out of this because then you're throwing out Marcus Washington, who you would think over time build a little chemistry with.
He's still got his roommate.
He does have Thomas Fidone,
who I
like Fidone.
and I think that's going to be a big part of it. Will we see more connections with Kemp, Bullock, Doss, Coleman, Lloyd combination?
I think it goes up. They'll call some safer stuff for him. They'll reevaluate.
I see. That's what I think that will be the case. But again,
will factor more.
How will he execute? That's the thing. I'm with you, Jimmy, that I think they will do that. But I'm still not sold that Harburg will execute even the more favorable or higher percentage passing situations. So if it goes up, I don't see a dramatic increase. So like at 52%, if I say it goes up to 54%, technically it goes up, but is it going up to where this is even a conversation? Because I don't see that thing elevated. I don't think by the end of the year you're going to see Heinrich Harberg at 60%. That's just
56.
That's just my gut feeling.
So I think it's going to be more difficult in the second half of the season for him throwing the ball because now you are seeing everybody's dropping 8, they're rushing 3. So you're going to have to play the role more of a quarterback because Nebraska can't all of a sudden just decide they're not going to pass the ball. Nebraska's still going to have to throw the ball about 14 to 18 times a game. If you go back, and the island went back to 2009, so let's be fair here. Nebraska,
guys. By the way, Sims was almost 60% completion.
Well, okay, so I'm combining their whole completion percentage. Nebraska's 3 quarterbacks that have attempted to pass. Nebraska's at 53% passing percentage. I only went back to 2009. The 2009, Zach Lee, who changed everybody's opinion about quarterbacks back then. That unit, those quarterbacks, because he wasn't alone.
Cody Green.
57.7% was their completion percentage. But remember who they were throwing to. You had an NFL wide receiver, Niles Paul. You had a really good tight end in Mike McNeil. And you had an NFL running back in Halou out of the backfield who caught a lot of footballs.
Yes, he did.
That was 57.7%. That's one of the lower ones in the last, decade plus. I don't know that percentage is going to go up.
I just don't think.
Now, if it goes up, that's a great sign for Nebraska. Here's what I think will happen. So I think at the end of the season, Harburg will have 10 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. Okay, not fancy, but that's just kind of how I think it is.
Almost very average.
But if the completion percentage goes down,
yeah.
If it stays the same, good. If it goes up, then Heinrich Harberg has played the on Sipple's radio show. They play Shut Up Sipple. He'd be like, "Shut up, Sharp." He goes, "What do you think about what are you doing? Trying to call rule and get 1890 together to put some cash together? Go get a portal guy. I'm your man."
Yep.
Well,
get that Harburger.
All right. So, but like in that quarterback room, there are people that are playing for spots in 24. But Harburg right now has the hold on the spot. But I could see a 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions when it's done, and they walk off the field against Iowa.
Yeah, because you're at 4 touchdowns now, 2 interceptions. So it's kind of that would again be sort of on par. You'd have 6 more games now. Again, he didn't start all 6, so you'd have 6 more games to kind of build off of that. I can see you're probably trending into that direction. And again, I want to make it very clear. I don't think it's because all of a sudden Heinrich Harberg is asked to do so much more in this offense, but it's a good point about what defenses are doing. And I also think that for Heinrich Harberg continuing to lose options at wide receiver, at some point, how are they going to defend Thomas Fidone as well? If you know that a quarterback has a safety valve or a security blanket and you're taking him out, do you have the confidence in Billy Kemp? Do you have the confidence in Alex Bullock? Do you have the confidence, especially in the freshmen that you're going to see out there? So it's something to me that doesn't paint a picture of, oh yeah, you're going to see this thing elevate to like 60%, and you're going to see mistakes at a minimum. They're just going to happen.
Well, could Nebraska get to a bowl game without having a 1,000-yard rusher or throwing for 2,000 yards?
I mean, there's a path.
There is.
If there is,
isn't that good? But that would go back to how you described, and I think we should all agree on that, because if they got to 6 wins, given what these offensive numbers realistically, like tangible evidence to believe, that's what it would look like, where you would not have a 1,000-yard rusher or passer. That it is a damn miracle.
Now you'll get 1,000 yards.
I'm sorry, 1,000-yard passer.
2,000 yards. Yes.
Yeah, 2,000.
Yep.
That would be a miracle. That would be something to applaud. That despite all of that,
in Phoenix,
you're still
on December 26th.
able to do that.
All right, quick email here on the whole best high school teams. This is from Chad in the Equitable Bank inbox. No love for the 21 or 22 Badgers. Talking about Bennington.
Yeah.
I will give love to the 21 team. Now, both were filthy. I mean, the program's won 33 in a row, did I say earlier? Yeah, 33 in a row. What Bennington did in 21 to that Aurora team was pretty good. They rolled them. And then, by the way, you have one of the best, should have gotten more love. Wish he would have given it a shot in college playing running back, Dylan Mostek, who finished, what did he finish? Well, he had like 3,090 yards he finished up with. Yeah, the 21 Bennington team was absolutely filthy.
I'm trying.
Looks to be really windy and chilly, says Chad at Bennington.
No, you didn't mention rain either. See?
No.
Good job. Maybe
I'm going all in.
No
rain tomorrow.
Chad is a big supporter of Bennington football. He wonders if the 82 West Side team had as many recruits as the 23 team.
I don't know what the 82 West Side offer list looked like. So we did get confirmation that Paul Myers was on that 82 team.
Yes, he was a senior.
That's right, because now I think about it, I knew he was with the 85 Nebraska baseball team. So I guess that would make sense. Good for Paul. He's
great athlete.
He doesn't look it though. He doesn't look like.
Oh, your phone's gonna ring.
Oh
yeah. He back in the day, yeah, he was a baller.
No. I'm saying his age.
Oh okay,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Good for Paul. No. I'm saying good for Paul because I had to actually like really think about it. I'm like, I don't think he's that old to where he would be.
Well.
Yes, he's aged extremely well.
Yeah.
Now I think Jake during Husker baseball games probably made it age a little bit quicker because he was always pacing back and forth.
Yeah, Jake doesn't look like an athlete. And we'll give some love. Yes, back in the day, Northeast Nebraska was representing the Brungharts and the Eulers and Norfolk Catholic and Battle Creek. By the way, Jeff Beller won his 400th game. HOFer.
I got to do a couple of their games when I was in Columbus too, and yeah, that was a hell of a program. I got to give some love to if we're gonna go all classes here too. Ron Mimic and David City Aquinas in 2000.
Golds, Fall City Sacred Heart.
Never saw them play.
They were pretty good.
But
Feel pretty good.
But yeah, I think it was 2011 or 10. I don't know. But David City Aquinas had some good teams. Hell, I even got to see what I felt. And again, I hadn't seen too much of 8-man football before I got to Columbus, and we covered Humphrey and Humphrey St. Francis. But St. Francis, before they consolidated, they had some squads too.
They did. And people started recruiting, and schools started to close.
Yep.
And everybody went to West Side.
It all comes back to West Side.
I was one of those people too.
Yeah, I know.
That's okay.
You're on the board. I get it.
Not officially. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Brian Edwards next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Terrors of the night stalk among the trees. In the distance, fear awaits. A shriek, laughter, then silence. It's the season of darkness at the Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. Spend an hour with nothing to protect you but your own screams. Bring your group and witness unspeakable horrors that test every fiber of your nerves. Hayride and House combo $30 or $19 separately. The Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Good boy. At Cox, we think all customers deserve a reliable connection. So whether you're a loyal customer who's been with us for years, or you're new to the family like this little guy, you'll get the same great deals on the same great internet. And no matter who you are. See how you can save at cox.com/deals for all. Other restrictions apply. All rights reserved.
Are you ready for your best year of health yet? Join Nebraska Medicine for Break for Breakfast, a free drive-through event that could make a life-saving difference.
On Friday morning, October 13th, drive through one of 3 locations between 6:30 and 8:30 for a free breakfast and crucial cancer screening information.
Did you know that early detection is key when it comes to fighting cancer?
That's right. And at Break for Breakfast, you'll get information about different types of cancer screenings without leaving your car.
And don't forget, a free and delicious breakfast.
Mark your calendar for October 13th from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and head over to one of these locations. Omaha Home for Boys off 52nd and Ames Street, Shadow Lake Town Center off 72nd Street and Highway 370, or Village Point Health Center just south of Dodge near 175th and Burke Streets.
Visit nebraskamed.com/breakfast for all the drive-through event details. That's nebraskamed.com/breakfast.
Sure, you could go elsewhere for your health and wellness products, or better yet, why not just come to 42 Degrees? Those other places don't even come close to the wide variety and premium disposable e-juice, CBD, Delta, Kratom, glass pipes, vaporizers, and other great products. With the friendliest, most knowledgeable, and professional staff who will find the right products just for you. If you're looking for a one-stop shopping experience, look no further. 42 Degrees. By your mom's house.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
It's Thursday, the wrap up the show. That means the one and only, the senior handicapper for Vegas Insider. It is Brian Edwards. You can follow him on Twitter at VegasBEdwards. Good morning, my friend. How are we doing today?
Good morning, gentlemen. What's happening? Doing well.
It's a bye week around here, so it's nice. You know, we're celebrating being 3-3.
Yeah, nice win for Nebraska last week. and not to take anything away from it, but man, what a disappointment Illinois has been this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Hey,
come on.
Yeah, they have
Did
been.
I take something away from it?
Yeah, see, it's okay. I guess that's reality.
My bad. That was not my intention. I promise.
Crazy that Illinois is 0-6 against the spread this year.
Yeah, they're just a half game behind Vandy at 0-7.
Hey, Vandy is really, really good to me. I liked what they did in the Swamp, and I know we're going to talk about that here in a little bit about their home game in Nashville against Georgia. Hey, but let's start tonight. This is an interesting game because Neil Brown was on the hot seat in Morgantown. They're playing really well. They might have a case to be the third or fourth best team right now in the Big 12. And all of a sudden, Dana Holgorsen, who used to be there, the spotlight is off of him, and I think he's on the hot seat. This is a pretty important game for a newcomer to the Big 12, and the newcomers of the Big 12 have not been very good in their first year. West Virginia on the road, slight favorite. Where are you going with this game tonight?
Yeah, so I got West Virginia at 3 minus 105 half juice, but a lot of books at 2.5 at last look. They've won 4 in a row, both straight up and against the spread since the loss at Penn State, which was a one-possession game at halftime. They've beaten Texas Tech at home or in Morgantown 20-13. They won 24-21 at TCU. I believe they were 13, maybe even 13.5-point dogs in that game. Garrett Green, the QB, has not been intercepted yet. Flip side, Houston has played those same 2 Big 12 teams. They lose at home 36-13 to TCU and got drilled by Texas Tech 49-29 in Lubbock. And like you said, Neil Brown appears to be off the hot seat, knock on wood, but and all I want him to do is win by 4 or more tonight. But if you look at the schedule, with Oak State on deck at home, then at UCF, which obviously won't be easy, and at BYU at home, they potentially could be 8-1 going to Norman. And then even after that game, Cincinnati at home and at Baylor. So they've got 4 wins and they've got 6 winnables, if you will, left. So, but then again, on the flip, he could, if they fall apart, he could be right back on the hot seat. Let's just get it done tonight.
Be Georgia Vanderbilt. It's a huge, speaking of Vandy, by the way, huge number that Georgia's laying at 31.5. So if you're looking at this game, where do you like either Georgia or even what we're seeing with the over-under?
Yeah, so my favorite play on this game is Georgia's team total over 43.5. So they've beaten Vandy 55-zip and 62-zip the last 2 years. For what it's worth, it'll basically be a home game for Georgia. There'll be more Georgia fans than Vandy fans. Georgia scored 51 last week. They've scored 45 or more in 4 of their 6 games. Beck seems to be getting better every week. And look, I would like this play regardless, but Vandy is banged up on defense, and they stink on defense. DeRicky Wright, the safety, is probably their best defensive player. He's doubtful. He's got 29 tackles, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 tackle for loss. And then starting linebacker Kane Patterson is out. He's got 25 tackles, 3 TFLs, and another starter, cornerback B.J. Anderson, is also out. Now for less, I'm also going to be on over 56. The over being perfect for Vandy, either 6-0-1 or 7-0, depending on the closing line for Wake Forest. Should have had another touchdown last week, but on 4th and goal at UF's 4, Camryon Johnson dropped a touchdown pass. Yeah. I thought Fields played pretty good. Shepard's been a big playmaker for him offensively. I don't think we're going to get many points from Vandy, but I'll still go over 56 for the game, but more on UGA's team total over 43.5.
Hey, you're dabbling with your team, the Gators, who coming off that win against Vanderbilt. South Carolina's coming off a bye, but I think South Carolina's pretty banged up. They're a slight favorite. What happens in this game in Columbia?
Well, like you just noted, it's a better spot for the Gamecocks with 2 weeks to prepare. They've also got revenge mode. They lost 38-6 at Florida last year, but South Carolina's last home game against Florida, they really put it on Dan Mullen. I was still one of the final holdouts on firing him in 2021, but by halftime at Williams-Brice that night, I was all for firing him. South Carolina's got the better quarterback with Spencer Rattler. They're 7-2 against the spread as home favorites since Beamer took over, and in 16 home games under Beamer, Gamecocks 12-4 straight up, 11-5 ATS. Florida has lost 9 of their last 10 true road assignments going back to the tail end of Mullen's tenure in that aforementioned game at South Carolina. And he followed up with a loss at Missouri and then got fired. And under Napier, Florida has played 8 games away from the swamp. Now 1 in Jackson against Georgia, 1 in Vegas against Oregon State, but they're still 1-7 straight up in those games. The only win was at A&M when the Aggies were reeling last year in November, and all 7 of the losses by at least 5 points, and 4 of them by 13 or more. I like South Carolina at 3 or fewer, but they're still -2 or 2.5 out there.
All right, Missouri, Kentucky. What's the play here? You're looking at an over/under 51.5. What are we thinking?
I'm going over 51.5. The over 4-2 overall for Kentucky, 5-1 for Missouri. Missouri's last 4 combined scores: 57, 61, 59, and 88. Brady Cook playing well, 13-2 TDI-NT ratio and 3 rushing touchdowns. Luther Burden is a first-team All-American if the season ended today. 54 receptions, 793 yards, 5 touchdowns. Theo Weeks, the Oklahoma transfer, is playing great at receiver for Mizzou. I love all their receivers, really, or just the group as a whole. And, Ray Davis should be able to run the ball well on Mizzou. He's got 653 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, and a 7.2 yards per carry average. I like it over 51.5.
Hey, final college game on the card. And this one I'm kind of conflicted about. It's Oregon State, UCLA. So who would have thunk that Chip Kelly would have one of the better defenses in the country? They're number 1 in yards per play allowed. They're also number 3 in stop rate. They're going against a guy in DJU that can be all over the map. My hesitation here is Dante Moore has a bright future, but I didn't like what he did as a true freshman in his first road start at Utah. It's a night game. It's on Fox. It's very intriguing. Oregon State is a slight favorite at home in Corvallis. UCLA or Oregon State, where are we going with this game?
Love Oregon State here. And I had UCLA last week, and it should have been a no-sweat cover, but they
messed around,
were a little sloppy on special teams and in some other areas, but the defense was dynamite. But Oregon State at home is automatic these days. They're 15-1, both straight up and against the spread in their last 16 home games. The only outright loss by 3 to USC last year. They've won their 3 home games this season by 48, 17, and 14-point margins. Like you said, the true freshman struggled on the road at Utah, and they lost that game. I think he'll struggle again here. And not only is Oregon State 15-1 straight up and against the spread, last 16 at home, regardless of home, away, or neutral. Last 14 games, 12-2 straight up, 11-3 ATS. The only losses by 3 at Washington last year, by 3 at Wazoo this year, and 10 of those 12 wins by 12 points or more. I like Oregon State -3.5 or 4.
Dipping in the NFL, San Francisco travels to Cleveland. The line is the Niners laying 6.5 over under. I believe we're going to 37.5. Where are you feeling comfortable with this one?
So there might be some weather in this game, but I don't trust the weathermen this far in advance. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm going to go Niners. It's up to 6.5 or 7. Look, if Watson does not practice today, I think it'll go north of 7. And if he ends up getting ruled out, it may end up being 10. So I like the Niners, and just the fact that you might be able to hedge it at a different number later in the week makes it more attractive. I actually got the Niners at 5 early in the week, but I like their team total over 22.5 also. And I'm not against their team total in the first half over 11.5. I'd probably like it all the way to 13. Brock Purdy playing great. The Niners have scored 30, 30, 30, so that's 33 times, 35 and 42 in 5 games. I know Cleveland's got good defensive numbers, but a little weather and Cleveland's defense is not going to discourage me from those team totals that are so low for the Niners.
Hey, I think we're all on this. Detroit's legit, and they're a field goal favorite at Tampa Bay. I think Detroit's going to remind us that they are the best in that division, which maybe not saying much, but I think they're a really good football team.
Yeah, and they're -600 to win that division. I saw that yesterday.
Wow.
Mike Evans did not practice for the Bucs yesterday, a hammy, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that's all the more impressive. Amon-Ra St. Brown missed the game last week, and they hit my team total over 27.5 by halftime and scored 42 without their best weapon. And how about Sam Laporta, the tight end, the rookie? He's playing great. the rookie Brian Branch didn't play last week, and he's playing like an all-pro. I don't know if he's going to be back this week or not, though. But yeah, they're playing great and have been good on the road. They're only lost at home to Seattle in overtime. No shame in that one either. I like Detroit. If you can get 3, I got it 3. Let's see, what is it now? Is it moved north of 3? No, still 3 now. Maybe a little extra juice, but I'd get it now. If Evans doesn't practice today, it'll probably be 3.5 this afternoon.
Dolphins hosting Carolina. Again, another big number. Dolphins laying 13.5, over under 48.5. The Dolphins team total 31. I know that can be a lot, but does that seem like it's a small number against Carolina?
Look, if it moves, because we got a lot of time between now and Sunday, a lot of times people can't get team totals early in the week, but I like it over 31, but if it gets more than 31, I don't like it, only because of this. I think it's going to be a lopsided game. And last week, Miami, hit the brakes offensively when they got to 31, pretty much the whole fourth quarter. And there is no A-Chain who had been playing great, but Mostert's terrific. I still like this team total, but if it moves to 31.5, 32, maybe refrain just out of fear, that it could be 31-0 early fourth, late third, and not getting more points.
Hey, real quick on this. So let me get this straight, B, because I looked at this line. I'm like, this is one of those disagreeable betting lines. One team averages 36 points per game. The other team gives up 29 points per game. And they also score at a bottom 8 clip. And we're expecting this game to end with just a 2-touchdown margin. Doesn't 13.5 seem off, even with A-Shane out?
Yeah, because look, A-Chain has been fantastic, but Mostert is still, terrific. So it's not like I'm, thinking a whole lot less of Miami's offense. I'm trying to get to my page here. Let's see what I made Miami. I made them 14. So, once you get into double digits in the NFL, remember that Patriots team that eventually lost to the Giants, but went 16-0 or 18-0 with the playoffs. They would have lines in the 20s.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to get above 14. So I guess I'm not shocked, and I just don't like late double digits in the NFL. I'd rather attack it in the first half or a team total over.
Great stuff, my man. Nice roll you're on. I appreciate it as always. Have a great football weekend.
Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a great week as well.
That's Brian Edwards, senior handicapper at Vegas Insider. You can follow him on Twitter at Vegas B Edwards. Enjoy your Thursday night football. Chiefs and the Broncos and Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce, 14-3 against the Broncos in his career, 1,200 yards plus receiving.
2-0 with Taylor Swift in attendance.
They are, and if they're not 3-0, something went really wrong.
Yeah, it did. I think you're going to be fine. Rest easy, my friend.
I like Chiefs to cover. I like Travis Kelce to cover after.
Just win, baby. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Football Friday Fiesta on a bye week. For Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. Live, laugh, love, and punt on mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.